Good morning. This is the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. The new way Wyoming wakes up.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Corr. 8 rural communities across Wyoming are without their legacy hometown newspapers after News Media Corp abruptly closed them without notice Wednesday morning. Cowboy State Daily's Greg Johnson spoke to several employees who were notified via phone call and email that their jobs were terminated, effective immediately.
On Wednesday, they came to work, they're ready to go. Most of them, because Wednesday is publication day, they're ready to go to press, and they're told, nope, we're shut down. The group publisher told me that it was as much a surprise to him as it was to anybody else. He had no clue that the shutdown was coming and that it was just going to be that abrupt. People talk these days about news deserts, big areas that aren't covered by any news. And for 8 of them to just shut down in one day, there's a lot of local news that's just not happening.
Among the shuttered papers is the Pinedale Roundup, which has been the local newspaper for folks in that western Wyoming community for 121 years. Other papers shut down are Wheatland's Platte County Record Times, the Guernsey Gazette, the Torrington Telegram, Lusk Herald, Uintah County Herald, Bridger Valley Pioneer, and the Kemmerer Gazette. The Wyoming Democratic Party is hopeful a newly announced series of town halls in districts considered Republican strongholds will prove to Wyomingites it's not backing down in the face of fierce Republican opposition. Democrats currently hold a combined 8 seats in the state legislature, with 2 in the Senate and 6 in the House. Cowboy State Daily's Jackson Walker reports that state Democratic leaders are now pushing back through a series of listening events scheduled in red districts across Wyoming.
When I asked a Democratic Party chairman for the state of Wyoming if he was inspired by this tour that was done on the federal level, he said no. He said this is something that we're doing locally. We're only focusing on the state of Wyoming. And he wants to show people that Democrats are here for Wyoming voters. They're caring about the issues that are important to them, and they're ready to turn the tide, given some of the unpopular decisions that Republican lawmakers may have made in recent days.
Areas scheduled to host these listening sessions include Cheyenne, Casper, Lander, and Park County, with more sessions planned. More than 200 Laramie County residents converged on a meeting of the county's governing board Tuesday to criticize proposed land use rule changes impacting home-based businesses. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that nearly 4 hours of public testimony revealed a chasm between the way the commissioners characterized the new rules and the way meeting attendees characterized them.
There was a lot of information online circulating like, oh, this is going to abridge the Wyoming Food Freedom Act and shut everyone's business down. Shut down lemonade stands or require all this onerous permitting. And county officials were really kind of slack-jawed because they were like, we're deregulating. We're actually making a less onerous plan, but it's raising attention now because we didn't thoroughly enforce the old rules.
And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.
When she was 19 weeks pregnant with Finn, Kelly went in for a routine ultrasound.
The doctor knew that something was wrong when he looked at his heart and saw that there weren't any chambers and there were abnormal connections.
After Finn was born, he needed multiple surgeries and procedures just so he could survive.
He has had 17 procedures, including 2 open heart surgeries. To be perfectly honest, I can't see Finn even getting past birth without the American Heart Association.
Finn's entire family is grateful to the American Heart Association. Their support of life-saving research and medical breakthroughs gave Finn a second chance at life.
I love to go on bike rides with my daddy. Thank you for helping kids like me.
Learn how you can join us in the fight to help prevent death from heart disease and stroke at helpheart.org today.
Yeah, it's the Cowboy State Daily Show here on the Thursday, August 7th. We're going to have some August trivia, a little bit of August trivia for Ask Abby later today. A lot of special guests. And a lot of news to cover, including Superman joining ICE. That's right. You heard it right. Newspapers shut down across Wyoming. Shocking. Abrupt shutdowns of 8 rural community newspapers as the parent corporation News Media Corp announced via email Wednesday morning they were out of options. They had been trying to sell, and with no buyers, just shut down 8 community newspapers, including some historic. I mean, the Pinedale Roundup's been in print for 121 years. The shocking news, not surprising to some, as these small newspapers were floundering in recent years financially, and that's kind of the way we're going nationally as well, but it leaves a huge news desert across the state. 25,000 Sturgis bikers stopped in Hulet, Wyoming, to enjoy the annual famous Ham and Jam free food. That's all you got to say, free food. The bikers will show up. And we got a weather forecast to get to you as well. We have this pilot. Oh, man, can you imagine your flight to Hawaii? You're all excited to finally go on vacation. Or as they say in the UK, holiday. There's a more trivia heads up for Abby. We're going to talk about words that don't mean the same thing. American words versus UK words. Holiday, vacation, that's one of them. So there you go, Abby. I put it on a platter for you. I gave you a sneak peek into your trivia questions today. The pilot, there was a flight that was headed to Hawaii, and the plane was like broke down. Like it didn't pass some test, and the plane had been in the hangar all night. The pilot was a little miffed. The pilot said, I don't understand this. The plane's been sitting overnight in the hangar. They should have dealt with these things. He was mad. So finally they roll back and they get another plane, and that plane fails an oil test or something. And finally, this is, I think this is American Airlines. Passengers bound for LAX to Hawaii. And finally, the pilot comes on after 2 different planes now, and he's like, well, they say we're good to go, but I'm not feeling it. That's what he said. He's like, I'm not feeling it. He said, I don't trust the plane. It's like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm going to park it. I don't know what ended up happening if these people ever got to Hawaii. Passengers did support his decision, though. They said, hey, if the pilot's not feeling it, neither are we. Get us a plane that works. Also, in air travel news, I saw a record-setting 29 hours on the tarmac. That can't be. This is not the same case, by the way. This is some other situation, and I don't know what I did with the story. Dang it. This was American Airlines with a pilot headed to LA to Hawaii, who they said was super friendly. And like he's one of those pilots who was really transparent. And he just said, yeah, after 2 different airplanes and it failing tests, he said, the mechanics say we're good to go. They've told us the plane is good to go, said the pilot, but I'm not really feeling it. I'm not going to leave the ground if I'm not completely certain we have an airworthy aircraft. So I'm probably going to err on the side of caution, and I'm refusing this aircraft. The pilot continued saying he didn't know if there was another one available. He said, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to make the tough call. Rather than flying 6 hours over water and maybe having an issue, I'm refusing this plane, said the pilot. Wow. Well, I'd rather have a pilot err on the side of caution as well. I don't know what I did with that story about a record setting sitting on the tarmac 29 hours. That's like more than a day. I know people have sat in a hot plane tarmac for, multi hours, 2, 3, 4, but Jen is not with us. I'm assuming she is not going to make the scene. We're going to call it on Jen Coker. Let's go to, our weather forecast. And still not quite settled on the music. I don't like that one. Yeah, I don't like that either. I have got to find a music. This feels kind of morning-ish and weathery. Yeah, all right. Casper, fire watch till about 8 tonight. Till about 8 Friday. Sorry, you're on a fire watch in Casper. Already got patchy smoke in the sky. That's due to local fires in neighboring states. Sunny, breezy 94 in Casper with wind gusts. Fire watch in Lander as well till 8 o'clock Friday night. Mostly sunny, breezy 92 in Lander. Evanston, red flag warning till late Friday. Sunny, breezy with a high 85. Red flag warning in Rock Springs is anyway 89 the high in Rock Springs. Pinedale, red flag warning until Friday at 8. Clouds on the increase today, breezy, highs 82. Afton, you'll top out 85 with increasing clouds. Red flag warning in Du Bois. Mostly sunny, breezy, highs 81 in Never Sweat. Jackson, mostly sunny, breezy, 84 today. Thermopolis, sunny and hot, 97 the high. A little bit breezy as well in the Bighorn Basin. Mostly sunny, breezy in Cody with highs in the upper 80s. Buffalo, sunny, 88. Sheridan, slight chance of rain after 3. Otherwise, sunny and 91. Gillette, 93 today with some wind gusts, sunshine. Plenty of sunshine in Newcastle, highs 96. Torrington, areas of smoke, mostly sunny and hot with highs 102 in Torrington. Douglas, red flag warning until 8 tonight. Areas of smoke, mostly sunny, highs 98 in Douglas. That's too hot. Douglas just has that dry wind. When the wind blows in Douglas, it is of very little relief. Just a hot wind. Areas of smoke in Cheyenne, mostly sunny and hot, 92. Laramie, you'll hit 88 today, and you get a red flag warning until about 6 on Friday in Laramie. Rawlins, red flag warning until 6 Friday. Areas of smoke, that should burn off today. Sunny, breezy with highs 89. So the only chance of seeing a drop of rain is Sheridan, who, boy, they had a really wet spring. Sheridan, the only place that might see any kind of water. Otherwise, this is not going to be the day, as Don Day told us live from Florida yesterday. This is not going to be a day to mess around with fire. You got to be very careful. Trailer chains, exhaust from your four-wheeler or your campfire, whatever it is, don't let it get out of hand. Be real careful today, tomorrow, especially as high winds, high temps dominate the forecast. Cowboy State Daily stories today. Well, the lead story, probably Greg Johnson's story. Greg will be on in a moment to talk about it. But yeah, this was surprising news out of the blue. Blindsided. News Media Corp announced it was shutting down operations. News Media Corp is a Pennsylvania-based, I think. They're back east somewhere, I think. They own and operate 8 Illinois. They own and operate 8 Wyoming newspapers, 21 publications in all. And they made this surprising announcement via email. And I heard they also called some of their newspapers, but the email basically said, "Dear so-and-so," whoever's the head of that newspaper, in the instance of the Pinedale Roundup, a newspaper that can trace its history back 120 years, Callie O'Hare was the recipient of this email. It said, "It is with a heavy heart I write to inform you that NMC, News Media Corp, will be closing its doors permanently effective August 6th. The email was dated August 6th. Talk about a heads up. I'm sorry to say that as of August 6th, your employment with NMC and its affiliated companies will end permanently. The decision was not made lightly, etc., etc. NMC had been trying to find a buyer for its operations, was unsuccessful in doing so, and is flat out run out of money, I would imagine. Final paychecks. We will make all reasonable efforts to pay you your remaining compensation." And according to the folks over at the Pinedale Roundup, payday was due to be tomorrow. I don't know if they're paid weekly or bi-weekly, but they were looking forward to a paycheck tomorrow. Is it going to come? And the folks at Pinedale Roundup said they're not waiting with bated breath. And they think maybe that last check's not going to happen. If you have any questions, contact HR. The email said that went out to all the newspapers, and supposedly anybody who has reached out for questions, looking for answers, have received nothing. Crickets, no reply. Callie O'Hare over at the Roundup and others at the Pinedale Roundup were interviewed by Greg Johnson, and they said, "We're shocked. Main concern, final paychecks, where they say all reasonable efforts will be made, makes me think that it's a setup for not paying us," said office. That was the office manager over at Pinedale Roundup, Kosiba. Boy, she had just taken a job. Madeline Kosiba, the office manager, said she had just left a job of 20 years in order to work for the Roundup. Oh, man. She's worried that paycheck due tomorrow is not going to come. It's a shock, Kosiba said. "I think I'm still in this sad, devastated phase. The anger phase will come later." Platte County Record Times, the Guernsey Gazette, also shutting down. Reporter Marie Hamilton said she's heartbroken. And she also wondered about that last check. "We don't know what's going to happen. It's payday week, so I'll either have a direct deposit or I won't. It's not all the money, and it's not all just the lost jobs. It's the lost news for these communities, creating what Callie O'Hare said of the Pinedale Roundup, a news desert. There'll be several communities without a local newspaper. Tough. Our own Bill Sniffen, who has been in the business, Bill knows. He's been a fixture in Wyoming journalism for more than 50 years. Bill has owned many small newspapers around the state. He said yesterday's announcement was a sad shock. Bill said for literally centuries, the closing of local newspaper was a catastrophe. Today, it's a disaster. I can't imagine this happening. These were good newspapers and good towns. Yes, some of them with Long, long history stretching way back. Tough news. Greg Johnson will be here. Let's take a quick break and get Greg into the room. He wrote this story. It is the lead story of the day about newspapers shutting down, and unfortunately, that's kind of the environment we're in now across the country, and it's scary stuff that newspapers, when newspaper can't make a go of it, and we're a newspaper, Cowboy State Daily, so we think about that every day. Let's take a break. We'll get Greg in here.
Wyoming is a big state. There's so much ground to cover, so many stories to tell. But the Cowboy State Daily News team is up to the challenge. I'm Wendy Core, host of Cowboy State Daily Video News. Whether it's politics in Cheyenne, energy issues in the Powder River Basin, or grizzlies in Yellowstone, our talented crew of experienced journalists are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. What's the best restaurant in DuBois? Renee Jean checks it out. What's the most recent Supreme Court decision mean to our everyday lives? Claire McFarland explains. How is the upcoming elk hunting season shaping up? Mark Hines lets us know. Every day, I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites, and in our daily newscast, I bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily video newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com. This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Hi. I'm your retirement fear. But don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. Here, this is pretirement.org.
Retirement savings options? Potential tax breaks?
Ooh,
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
you got this.
Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the-right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane. Woo! You got this.
So as a technical sergeant, E6.
I served in Vietnam in 1969.
I am a U.S. Army veteran.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Try to always be there for each other.
I do my best reaching out to my brothers and sisters in arms.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I can't say that I have. I mean,
If you don't have someone to kind of help you guide those thoughts, it can be really bad.
Eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
I guess it's a part of the military too, right? Service before self.
It was drilled in, service before self.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me, When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Back at it here on the Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake. Greg Johnson in here, managing editor of the Cowboy State Daily, at least for right now. Wow, shocking.
What, do you know something I don't know?
No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about the big story. News Media Corp shuttering almost 24. They're just closing operations as of the date of the email that folks got. Pinedale Roundup, 120-year legacy, Platte County Record Times, Guernsey Gazette, Uinta County Herald, Kemmer Gazette. Man, that's tough news when you see these papers go down. You talk to some folks, sadness, shock, certainly, and maybe, I don't know, what were people saying?
Yeah, they're devastated and they're mad. They got they get this a call, someone from another paper calls around and tells them, yeah, this is going down. They get shortly after they get this email. They all got the same email. They just put their names on it, but saying effective that day that they're out of a job. Someone called them over, like at Pinedale. There's only 2 people working that office now because 18 months ago the rest of the staff was cut. But they were told to that was their last day to leave their keys at the end of the day.
Oh,
and and these are papers. Some of these papers have been around for a long time. 121 years for the Pinedale one. There's others that are older. So it's I mean, they knew that the company was in trouble.
Yeah.
But, they didn't know that they were just going to lose their jobs on the spot. And in the letter, it also outlined that also yesterday, their health insurance ended.
Oh.
So they were out of a job without health insurance, apparently.
Yeah. And man, I can say that from recent experience. That's not fun. Oh man.
No. Well, one of the people I talked to, she got emotional, saying, I have a doctor's appointment coming up, and now I have no health insurance.
Yeah.
But yeah, the company did not respond. Not surprised about that, but I did reach out. The CEO of the company, JJ Tompkins, he put his email in the letter saying anyone can reach out to him. And from what I'm told, at least the people I've talked to that I'm told, is that there has been nothing from corporate. Their calls have not been answered or returned. Nobody's returned any of the emails, so they were just told you're out of a job, and then nobody is responding. And I didn't realize until last night that I actually worked for this company at one point. It was almost 30 years ago. They owned some papers in Colorado, which they sold off a couple of years ago. So they weren't part of this thing. But I distinctly remember when I left there, I even said it aloud to myself. Because I said, I don't care how desperate I am, I will never work for news media again. That's the only place that I've ever thought that. And a lot can happen over 30 years. So, I don't know that my experience there reflects what it was, what it's like there now or anything. But but the thing is, eight towns across Wyoming all of a sudden don't have their newspapers, and there's not a lot around Wyoming, so that's a percentage of their papers that names that people know. People know the Pinedale Roundup, people know the Torrington Telegram. It's and it is business. You're not making money, you got a business, but there's a way to do it. And I was in Gillette. I was the one at the front covering everything with Black Jewel. When Black Jewel Coal, when they just abruptly shut down, just on that day, they shut down in the middle of the shift. They told people coming in, don't come in. And the people who were working say, just stop working, leave your vehicle, leave your equipment where it is and leave. That's what this kind of feels like. And that's just not the way to do it. To just, if you're in that desperate of a situation that you're just, my guess is the company got to the point where it absolutely had no money and there was nothing they could do. They have payroll coming up tomorrow. And, the way the letter, I read that letter and I'm thinking, nah, they're not paying me. It says like all reasonable efforts will be made to pay. I mean, that's like saying the check is in the mail.
Yeah. And that's probably why the reason for the abruptness. I mean, the email goes out 2 days before payday, 2 days before the eagle flies. And yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's not surprising. The whole industry is faced with challenges. Small town newspapers are shuttering, cutting back. We know that. But the abruptness, I mean, if you're News Media Corp and you're hemorrhaging and you can see an end date, hey, how about a 2 weeks heads up? Employees are required.
Or a month or even a couple of months.
Right.
Say, look, we can't keep this going.
Right.
For a couple of months.
Right. Yeah, that's like pretty abrupt to pull the plug. That's devastating. And of course, what it leaves in its wake, there's no one now covering Pinedale Town Council or the Sublette County Commission meeting. I mean, you're not going to hear that. And in many of these places, there's no overarching newspaper that could cover it, even if they could. You know what I mean? Like maybe when Kemmer newspaper goes down, you're like, all right, Uinta County Herald could assign a reporter to cover all things specifically Kemmer, but they both are on the list of closed. Yeah. Who steps in the gap? There's just going to be no news, a news desert, as one of your sources
unless there's any locals who pick it up or anything, but
yeah,
print if how they would keep it going is the question. But yeah, it just has a bad taste the way it went down. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's no good way, but this is a bad way. Bad to get a notice saying you're done. Don't come into work tomorrow. Go home now. And that last check, maybe not. That's tough. Yeah, I hate to hear about it. The Rockies got blasted. Thanks a lot for your help beating the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they got hit almost as hard.
Boy.
I know that I don't know why I don't turn it off, but ESPN sends me notices.
You just can't look away from the car wreck that is the Rockies. Oh, man.
Yeah. 20-1. They lost 20-1.
20-1. 24 hits, a record 63 hits over a 3-game series. That's a record. Nobody's ever surrendered that many hits in a 3-game series. Blue Jays beat you up.
Yeah, and so the Rockies didn't do you any favors.
Right. I needed you to squash them birds a little bit. We're trying to run them down. No luck, no help.
Well, at least the Rockies did it in front of their home fans,
Ooh.
At least they...
Even worse. Oh, and that picture we got from you, he's already down in the minors.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He had 2 horrendous outings, and everybody in New York's like, who is this bum from the Rocket? They sent him down to AAA. He gone. Yeah, I met I ran into a Jackson family that has moved down to Denver. And I said, oh, you're all probably Rockies fans. And one of the boys of the family just like hid under his hat. He's like, yeah, the shame of it all.
Yeah, that was like being a Broncos fan in one day. I'm sure Browns fans, that's what they think. Or the Saints back in the day. Remember when they were the Saints and they'd all show up wearing bags and stuff?
Yeah. And wear a bag over your... What is wrong? The cat is just... Last few days, the cat only comes in for his twice-a-day feeding and then is gone. I'm feeling used.
Yeah, my cat doesn't chew with her mouth closed.
Really?
Yeah, you can hear her crunching.
That's uncat-like.
Yeah, I know.
They're
No
usually
cat manners.
right. They're more fastidious of an animal. Yeah, this cat is losing it. I think his brother is in town. His brother from the ranch that he's from, every once in a while, risks coming across the highway and visiting. Yeah, it must be his brother's here. What else is going on in news that you're watching?
Well, I haven't had a time to watch a whole lot.
Busy, huh?
Well, yeah.
Too busy.
Writing stories. There was no update on the search. I called several times and
right.
didn't hear back. Checked. There hasn't been any update. So don't know what. So it appears that they're just still searching. So
I'm sort of surprised we don't have some resolution there, because I would assume there's only one given way up to the top of Cloud Peak, like one preferred route. So you're up.
Well, I mean, that's the report, is that he was at the top of Cloud Peak, but you never. What if he climbed something different?
Yeah. Well, what was the text to the wife? Did he just say I'm on top, and then did he name the mountain or not?
I don't know. I didn't see the text. She just told me about it. I don't know that detail of it.
Yeah.
That's what they reported, was it was Cloud Peak. So
right. I mean, if it's not Cloud Peak and it is a neighboring mountain, that will expand the search. But if it was Cloud Peak and you go up and you're coming down to your base camp, you would think that kind of limits the amount of area you got to look at. I don't know.
It's a huge area, man.
I know.
I don't know. You ask these questions like incredulous, like I should know.
No, I'm not. It's not you. I'm just, frustrated like everybody.
Guy, that got lost in the Tetons. They still haven't found him.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it certainly is easier to get lost in wilderness, in the forest, in the backcountry, especially if you don't have a particular agenda or where you're going. But this guy, I mean, we're relatively sure we got a text saying I'm at the top of this mountain. And then he's not. I don't know. I know. I mean, everybody's on it. Teton County Search and Rescue sent a team over there. Bighorn's got their people on it. All kinds of volunteers involved. Got to find something out. Everybody descended on Hulet. 25,000 Sturgis bikers made a pit stop in Hulet to take part in the famous ham and jam. Free food. That's all you got to say to bikers, right? Free food. Street party. That's a lot of extra people in that tiny town. 25,000 Harley riders.
Yeah, you know what I was asking yesterday morning? I saw all over, people all over were worried about what ESPN is going to do with Red Zone.
Oh, so you were kind of on it. You had your finger on the pulse.
A lot of people like that. They're like, what are we going to have to subscribe for it? What's going on? Are they going to? Because the host is great, Scott Hansen. He's really good on it. But what do you? Is he going to stay? He says he is. So that's good, because I would hate to see because ESPN has it now. See, I couldn't take 7 hours of Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, right.
He's fine, but not for that long.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think this takeover, this hostile takeover or corporate merger or buyout, whatever it is, I think that's ESPN getting rid of the competition by buying them. And I think they recognize it's a quality product because it was taking a chunk out of what they do. So I think when that happens, you usually leave things alone. You just say, hey, this stuff is working and it's hurting our bottom line. We're going to take you. And they buy you, and I would imagine, be business as usual for at least one season.
Well, it's interesting because they've been laying off people for the last few years.
Mm.
I mean, they've been laying off their talent and everything in ESPN, and now they're spending money.
Well, they've also been hiring back a little bit. I heard them they go back and get some old names as well. Well, we got our buddy that we had on the show the other day, that kid with Wyoming ties who does that early morning show for ESPN. I would consider him our insider. Maybe we can reach out and see what's going on.
Yeah. Tell him I'm very worried about Red Zone.
Yeah, I'll say we want to know what's going on with the Red Zone. What's the scoop? Off the record. Yeah. Maybe we'll find. I have to take a break and get this cat outside. He's going to lose his mind. God. Yeah, we'll tee up our next couple of topics of conversation. I got to take a quick break. Greg is swamped, I know, but I don't know. What do you think, Greg?
I got to go.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, enjoy your Thursday.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. And yeah, sorry I couldn't stay, but I really am.
No,
I'm already behind.
It's busy. You got a bunch of stories you're doing yourself. So, yeah, hang in there. Thanks for your work. And have a good day.
Later.
We'll be right back.
Want to stay in touch with what's happening around Wyoming? I'm Wendy Core, host of the Cowboy State Daily video newscast. From Mountain View to Upton, from Jackson to Cheyenne, our reporters are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. Every day, I talk to the talented journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, I bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily video news every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
Wyoming is a big state. There are so many stories to tell, and here at Cowboy State Daily, we pride ourselves in bringing those stories to you every day. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. Every day, host Wendy Core and I talk to the experienced journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily Video News every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill? No. You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
In today's digital world, it's hard to know who to trust. Your local TV and radio stations bring you the facts. Misinformation and deep fakes flood social media, but broadcasters deliver verified and accurate news. For news, emergency updates, sports, and entertainment, turn to your local stations. Text TV to 52886 and urge Congress to support the vital local journalism broadcasters provide.
Did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake here on a Thursday. Howard Stern show probably getting canceled. That's the story. His contract is almost up. Howard Stern kind of does, or we kind of do a Howard Stern thing here, the Howard Stern show, only he uses a lot more bad words than we ever do. More than 2 decades on the air. He began in New York City. I mean, this is a famous shock jock in radio. His morning show in New York City was about as big as a radio show gets. And then he made the jump nationally to Sirius XM back in 2006. And signed a $500 million contract, the self-declared king of all media. Massive fan base, probably the most popular morning show radio guy of all time. There's been some on that short list, but Howard Stern, legendary. Maybe he's ready to walk away from it as well. I don't know. 5-year contract set to expire at the end of this year, 2025. Rumors swirling that Sirius XM will just go ahead and let Howard ride off into the sunset. People magazine headline, is the Howard Stern show getting canceled? Here's what we know. Looks likely. And that will leave a lot more room for the Cowboy State Daily Show to creep in. Not that we cover the same kind of ground, but leaves a big void. Stories that we're looking at in the Cowboy State Daily, by the way. Slip and fall accident. I do not like ambulance chasing lawyers. I do not like these lawsuits when people get hurt. To me, they're indicative of the society we live in where no one takes any responsibility for themselves. Some people get hurt. You know, sometimes you fall and you get hurt. It's not necessarily someone else's fault. It's not always somebody else's fault. I really despise lawyers who try to convince potential clients that anytime you injure yourself, anytime you scrape your knee, somebody ought to pay for that. That's not your fault. It's terrible. Slip and fall lawyers. The woman who fell at Afton Park bathroom wanted $3 million. Just the price tag alone, a judge should say, pound sand, $3 million for tripping in a public restroom. This just wastes everybody's time. It went all the way to jury. Good for the town of Afton, by the way, to not settle. I mean, it's probably their only option. If you settle, the town of Afton doesn't have $3 million. Of course, insurance would pay for it. But the attorney, John Bowers, he took his chances in court with a jury. And the jury, who, you know, sometimes when these things go to jury, a jury of your peers, you get a dozen people who, you know, that some slip and fall lawyer will convince, look, this could have been you on the jury. What if you fell? This was a hazardous bathroom with poor lighting. And my client, just like you might have done, lost her footing and fell. Severe leg fracture. We don't want to make fun of the injury. It sounds significant. Danelle Lind suffered a broken leg so severe that it required emergency surgery. I think she broke her leg in like 3 places. This happened all the way back September 10, 2023. Lind was attending a wedding at the Canyon View Park in Afton. She went to use the restroom where the light was supposedly out. In fact, the public works director was told to keep the light that was not working as evidence, and he threw it away anyway. Oops. So there was alleged poor lighting. There was an alleged loose threshold and a nearly 4-inch tall, unmarked, awkwardly sized half step on the way out of the bathroom. And Danelle's shoe, which was a wedge. In fact, the shoe was shown by John Bauer. She was wearing these wedge heel shoes, 2 or 3 inches in height. I mean, it is a wedding, so the women are in their high heels. They're tottering around, teetering and tottering. They probably had a few beverages. And a fall is inevitable. Danelle's shoes snagged. She stumbled, the lawsuit said. The lawsuit was filed September 25th, so it took her 2 weeks to find a slip and fall lawyer, or for a slip and fall lawyer to find her. Suffered what the complaint calls a severe leg fracture. I'm doubting it cost $3 million to repair this leg, but you never know with today's medical bills. That could very well be. Maybe she was taken to St. John's and Jackson. You could run up $3 million in a hurry. Her bone snapped in 3 places. Ooh, she had to undergo emergency room bone setting procedure. Yikes. Danelle said there was no signage of the warning that the bathroom footing wasn't great. No tape, no paint, nothing advising her that there was a 4-inch drop off there and a possible trip hazard. Again, I feel bad for the victim and the broken leg, but look, not every slip and fall is the fault of the business that is behind the sidewalk. You know, you slip on the ice on the sidewalk and your slip was in front of this little mom and pop bookshop. And all of a sudden, the bookstore is sued for millions of dollars for not throwing ice melt out on their sidewalk. And you put them out of business with your lawsuit. I'm not down with these laws. I would never. And I say that, you know, nothing like this has happened to me. Although, you know, I've been hurt plenty of times on the job, whatever. And it would not occur to me to make somebody pay for my injury. Sometimes you get hurt in life. Sometimes you fall down. Golly, it's not up to the town of Afton to pay you $3 million because you couldn't navigate a bathroom step or whatever it was. She unsuccessfully, saying poor construction of the park bathroom left her with long-lasting injuries. Afton woman unsuccessfully sues her town government for nearly $3 million. 3-day jury trial last week in Lincoln County District Court, which is down there in Kemmer. Kemmer is the county seat of Lincoln. And the verdict came back that Afton was not negligent. That denies Danelle Lynn's request for a big payday. And I say good. Armed with not all the facts, but all the facts I need. $3 million for breaking your leg walking out of the bathroom. Maybe just be careful. A third Colorado wolf has died. And again, the death was noted in Wyoming. A third wolf reintroduced in Colorado. This reintroduction was back in December 2023. Was it that long ago we reintroduced wolves into Colorado? Back on July 24th, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, CPW, learned that wolf 2304, a female, had died in Wyoming. That's all they said. Cause of death was not explained. That wasn't released by Game and Fish or CPW. Just a female wolf that was repopulated down there in Colorado was making its way to Wyoming and died. Here's the sad part of the story. John Michael Williams, a Colorado resident, runs something called the Colorado Wolf Tracker Facebook page. And they try to keep tabs on these Colorado wolves, where they go, etc. And he said this female wolf was from the Canadian batch that recently logged over 1,000 miles in her wanderings. A female wolf from a Canadian batch, not this one that died. And he said this is evidence to him that some of these wolves introduced into Colorado that came from Canada are wandering around trying to find their way back. He speculated some of the wolves leaving Colorado that are found in Wyoming. This isn't the first one. There was the one that got into trouble with a rancher in Wyoming. He said the guy who runs the Colorado Wolf Tracker website, John Williams, said, we're seeing these things trying to go home, which is kind of sad. It is. There's been evidence of bears and wolves that have been trapped and relocated for getting into trouble. And the first thing they do is they have a real good sense of radar, or whatever it is, and they know where home is and they want to go home. And did this batch of Canadian wolves introduced into Colorado, do they have memory and awareness of Canada? Do they remember Canada as the good old days, and are they trying to get back? I don't know, but these are some of the issues you deal with when you reintroduce wildlife to a new area, a different area. Mark Hines has that story in the Cowboy State Daily about the wolf, female wolf 2304 that wandered from Colorado into Wyoming, died, perhaps on its way home to Canada. That'll wrap us up for the first hour of the Cowboy State Daily Show on the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network. We'll be back after top of the hour news.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Core. About 25,000 Sturgis motorcycle rally bikers made a pit stop in tiny Hulet, Wyoming on Wednesday for the town's famous Ham and Jam street party. Picnic tables are set out in the shade beside the Ponderosa Cafe, vendors line the street, and the Harleys never seem to stop buzzing. Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that it feels a bit like a summer reunion.
It just feels like, I don't know, a backyard neighborhood barbecue or something. Strangers sit next to each other and meet each other and talk to each other and tell their whole life story sometimes, even when you're trying to work. And that is, I think, the secret sauce to the Ham and Jam, is just that camaraderie. It's America coming together. It's really the world. The world comes to Hulet for this.
Meeting people and making new friends, not to mention being a little adventurous and trying new things, are just a few of the other things people mention when they talk about their attraction to the Wyoming side of the Sturgis Rally in the Black Hills. Across the West, a divisive symbol of prudent government cost-cutting to some and creeping authoritarianism and tech-enabled elitism to others is making its way to national parks such as Yellowstone and other federally protected public lands, carrying a message. The message is delivered via a giant Elon Musk head. Cowboy State Daily's Justin George reports that a sign on the trailer hauling the gigantic bust reads, "Make America Wait Again," now with longer lines thanks to Doge cuts.
They're just going from park to park. They're staying anonymous. What they're trying to do is protest. Elon, as we all know, headed up Dodge, the protest group. They've reached out to Cowboy State Daily after they went to Yellowstone Park and said that they were responsible for this. They said that they're just doing this strictly to protest the cuts that have happened to the park system. It has gone to Yosemite National Park. It's gone to Arches National Park in Utah. It's gone to Yellowstone, and it's gone to Mount Rainier. It plans to head to other places, and so you may see it if you're traveling around this summer.
Interior Secretary Doug Burgum has pledged to keep parks open and accessible and make sure that parks are adequately staffed. But the demonstrators behind the Musk bust don't believe that to be the case. Saying poor construction of a park bathroom left her with long-lasting injuries, an Afton woman unsuccessfully sued her town government for nearly $3 million in a 3-day jury trial last week. The jury in Lincoln County District Court returned a July 30th verdict saying the town of Afton was not negligent. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Danelle Lynn's lawsuit dates back to the night of September 10th, 2023, when Lynn attended a wedding at the Canyon View Park in Afton.
The bathroom door sits on a threshold that's like 3.5 inches above the landing leading to it. So the allegation was, whoa, this wasn't built to the code that prevailed in the early 80s when it was built. And the town also didn't have outdoor lighting. Reportedly, the jury decided otherwise after hearing not only evidence that the woman was wearing a high-heeled wedge shoe, but also that the inside of the bathroom was lit.
Lynn suffered what she described as a severe leg injury. Her bones snapped in 3 places, and she had to undergo an emergency room procedure. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Looking for something truly unforgettable? Head to the Cody Night Rodeo, where real cowboy action comes alive every night beginning at 8. From bucking broncs to bull rides, it's America's original night rodeo right here in Cody, Wyoming. The rodeo capital of the world. It's family fun, wild rides, and true Western excitement under the lights. Cody is rodeo.
The American Eagle Denim Company has sparked fierce debate with its ads featuring popular actress Sydney Sweeney and the tagline, quote, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes." But DuBois area outdoorsman and hunting guide Cade Cole decided to have some fun with it, according to Outdoors reporter Mark Hines.
There's been this controversy blowing up all over the place about the jeans commercial. Is it too racy, too sexual? Does it imply genetic superiority of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people? A Wyoming outdoorsman decided to just have some fun with it, and he got this photo of himself with a jean jacket and some ripped-up old jeans, holding his dog in one arm and a Magnum revolver in the other, with the caption on social media, "Hey, I have good genes too."
In the American Eagle ads, Sweeney poses in the company's denim clothing. In a sultry voice, she talks about how jeans pass certain characteristics, such as eye color and personality, down from parents to children. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
But the good news is, there's an organization making a big difference. Covenant House.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and the tools they need to succeed in life.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, and love, most of all love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges, and their lives are transformed.
Covenant House is changing the lives of young people in cities across America.
To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Justin George writes a story for the Cowboy State Daily about the giant Elon Musk head that's traveling through national parks. It was in Yellowstone recently, spotted. I have so many questions. Who has the time? Who has the time, the patience, the motivation? I mean, I guess I should be in admiration of the effort it takes to not only create this Elon Musk bust or Elon Musk head. I would not even recognize it as Elon Musk. I don't know if this is a great piece of artwork or what. I'm looking at the photo now. You can check out the photo in the story from the Cowboy State Daily. Justin George, giant Elon Musk head travels through Yellowstone. Slow news day. Slow news day. The Cowboy and Two Boys, who's mocking the Sydney Sweeney ad. This giant 12-foot tall Elon Musk head that's carved out of, well, I don't know what it's carved out. I mean, it looks like marble, but that would be way too heavy, right? This is not a double wheel trailer here. It's single axle. You'd need a double axle trailer to carry that if it was marble. Make America wait again. Now with longer lines, that thanks to Doge cuts, somebody is just traveling this thing, giant 12-foot Elon Musk head. Somebody's just trailering it through national parks. Probably getting a lot of bystander reaction, I would imagine. Some folks probably honking their horn and giving the thumbs up, of others maybe flying a different finger. Across the West, the divisive symbol of prudent government cost-cutting to some or creeping authoritarianism to others, Doge is definitely the whole notion of Doge and Elon Musk being the head of it. That was touchstone controversial no matter what. I mean, Trump could have said, look, I'm going to take a real hard look at the budget and I'm probably going to cut a bunch of things because we're running a national debt. We're running at a deficit. That news in of itself shouldn't be controversial, but to tap Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, to go look at the books of the U.S. government, I mean, that is unprecedented, right? Like, that has never happened. How is that going to go over? Even with true blue or true red, in this case, Republicans, even with staunch conservative Republicans who voted for Trump, how was it going to go over when Trump said, I want my main man? But there was a time Elon Musk was wielding more power and headlines than Trump's actual vice president, whose name escapes me now because I thought it was Elon Musk for most of the campaign. J.D. Vance. For a while, poor J.D. Vance had to feel like the first lady, like the third wheel, because it was BFF, Trump and Musk. And Musk was tapped to go slash the budget, the Doge cuts. That did not go over well with Democrats for sure. And even Republicans have to say, why is Trump hanging around with Musk? Trump, by the way, is hanging around with a Russian dude now again. I think they're friends again. He's going to go meet, right? I just saw it in the headline. I haven't had enough time to kind of read the national papers. but I'm pretty sure I saw Trump's going to make another visit over there to visit Putin. His on again, off again BFF buddy. Musk is definitely off again. And Putin was off again because he wasn't doing what Trump told him. And now Trump's going to go meet with him again, I think. I'll double check that. But I get off topic. Let's go back to the X, Elon Musk, and his Doge cuts. Oh, everything he did not go over well. Very controversial. So to be dragging his head, the artwork of his head through Yellowstone and through other national parks. I guess this trailer has been making stops already this year in Yosemite, Arches National Park in Utah, Mount Rainier National Park in Washington, and last weekend it was in Yellowstone. Make America Wait Again, says some nomenclature there on the artwork on the trailer, now with longer lines thanks to Doge cuts. I haven't noticed in both Grand Teton National Park or Yellowstone a lack of workers. Obviously, there's concessionaires that are not affected by Doge. And according, the last thing I heard from Cam Shawley, superintendent of Yellowstone, Shawley said that he was staffed up similar to last year under Biden. Grand Teton National Park said the same. We're staffed up pretty much how we were last year. Neither superintendent of either national park said that these Doge cuts caused them to have to scale back on their hiring. And there appears to me, every time I go in the park, there appears to be the same amount of people working at the gate. You know, you'll see one lane, depending on traffic, maybe two, maybe three. Like when it's super crowded, they'll have all three lanes rocking at the south gate. There seems to be plenty of people working as usual. There's long lines at times, and there always is, no matter how many people you employ to take admission, to take your ticket to visit Yellowstone. There's always long lines. There's too many people that want to jam into that park to the tune of nearly 5 million in a year. But I don't know that Doge is hurting Grand Teton or Yellowstone. Maybe other national parks are feeling understaffed. Yosemite, Arches, Mount Rainier, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. It seems to be a misguided message and just an attack on Trump via Musk. And again, I'm wondering who's got the time and the wherewithal and the chutzpah and everything else to be driving a trailer through the park with Musk in the back. I don't want to be that dude, honestly. And what are you trying to do? What are you trying to prove? This giant Elon head. After the bus showed up in Yellowstone, an email from an address that labels itself only as Giant Elon Head did address the Cowboy State Daily, Justin George. That's about as close as he's got to who is the driver, who is the artist, and what is the message here. Just an email from Giant Elon Head, the anonymous author. An alleged person behind the bus shared a goal for the protest. Oh, we do have a stated purpose. It's, quote, we want to bring back awareness to the absolute insanity of the world's richest man haphazardly firing tens of thousands of employees across the federal government and the chaos that has ensued. One strikingly visual and fun way to do that is by showing the arrogant smirk of that billionaire, and they don't dare mention him here, in overcrowded parks now affected by staffing shortages in their high season. Well, I don't deny this is well timed. This time of year is when the parks are slammed. And again, in Yellowstone, I can speak with relative assuredness that I'm correct. It wouldn't matter how many people. You could have doubled the staff of people working at Yellowstone. All it would do is increase the traffic. You have more park rangers driving around. There's a finite ability of the park to operate and to accommodate the visitation that they get in the summer. Any perceived notion that the park is busy, Yellowstone I'm referring to, or Grand Teton, if it feels busy to you, if it feels crowded, if you can't find parking at any of the features, there's nowhere to park at the Grand Prismatic. Yeah. Welcome to Yellowstone. It's been that way during the Biden era. It was that way before him and the dude before him. Yellowstone is seeing record visitation and has been for a while, and it's been crowded. The message should be clear, and it's not got to do with, sorry to disappoint you, it's not a political thing. The reason you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic in Yellowstone, the reason you can't find parking, the reason it's just packed with people has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. It's just the popularity of Yellowstone and people wanting to visit the West because their town sucks. Wherever, if you're not from Wyoming, your place sucks. Just kidding. It might be nice. But why do you think people want to come here? It just represents so many things they don't have. Wild, open country with crazy wild animals. Yellowstone is where people want to be. That didn't come from Washington, D.C. That's not a Trump. That's not Musk. That's not red or blue. But it's well timed because it's going to be packed in Yellowstone and dragging Musk's head through the park. This is a good time to do it. Although the message, I think, is misguided. This is not anything to do with Doge cuts. Let's get to the Zoom room and get our weather forecaster in there. Don Day joins us live from Florida, where he's cooking up the next hurricane to hit the Sunshine State. What are you doing, Don?
Yeah, it's conjuring. That's what I'm doing. I'm conjuring.
Conjuring. You like a certain amount of frog legs and there's some kind of brew in your cauldron.
Well, no, you can't do frog legs anymore.
Oh.
So the Witches Union has banned that. So I've got to do crawfish instead.
Yeah, you should be able to find those. Definitely in Louisiana, maybe Florida. Yeah, red flag warning. We got wind. We got high temps. I didn't see a drop of rain in the forecast except maybe Sheridan, which had a pretty wet spring. But yeah, this is not the day to chuck your cigarette out the window.
Yeah, not the day to burn out your irrigation ditch. Yeah, we've got really the next 48 hours are critical to get through because, and this happens during the course of the summer. Some summers we get more episodes like this than others, but we've got a situation of low humidity, hot temperatures, and wind. And that's just a recipe for problems if fires get started today. Same for tomorrow. The wind is picking up ahead of a cold front that's coming in out of the British Columbia area. And so anytime you get on the front side of a front, just ahead of it is when we get the wind. Behind it, we are going to cool off rather significantly across the state. Temperatures will go below average for the weekend into Monday in many areas. There'll be some moisture with the front, but not a lot. It'll mainly be in the far east and southeast, and that really won't come until the weekend.
So big, heavy, cold air coming down from above, from the north. And then what winds when you get a cold front descending on Wyoming from the north, and you get from the southwest, you get that monsoonal moisture. Who wins when those two collide?
Well, what happens is that the front actually suppresses the front. The cold fronts always win because the air with them is more dense and heavier. So the cold front, what it will do is suppress that monsoonal moisture to the south. And so what will happen is usually you get a couple of dry days behind these fronts after it goes on through, and it takes several days for that monsoonal moisture to start to creep back in from the south to the north again. Now, we do expect that to happen, but it won't be till the middle to the end of next week.
I can actually visualize that. Like you've got a small little river flow or a small little, trickle, a creek, and you drop a big boulder into it, and it diverts the creek for a little bit of while, and then the flow comes back. I can almost picture it.
Yeah, that's not a bad analogy. Very good. I'm going to give you a B+ today. You did good.
I'm learning. I'm studying on this weather stuff. Cool. All right, Don, enjoy your time in Florida. I hope you get back soon.
I'm headed back tomorrow.
Oh, that's good news. Okay, good deal. Travel safe, and we'll see you. Have a great Thursday.
Thank you, sir.
Don Day, weather forecasting. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back after
the
this.
Teton Range, Cheyenne to Sheridan, Rawlins to Ralston. Cowboy State Daily Morning Show covers the state like no other radio show or podcast. We love Lovell. We're eager to share the stories of Story will crow about Crowheart and yodel over Yoder. Whether you make your home in Sweetwater, Chugwater, Powder River, or Green River, the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show will make you feel right at home. Jeffrey City, Atlantic City, we see you. Little America, Big Piney, you're on our radar. Howdy, Wapiti, Meeteetse, Shoshone, Ten Sleep, good morning, welcome, Torrington, Riverton, Wheatland, Lusk, Lingle, Lander, Timber, Casey, Kerwin, Moorcroft, Mountain View, Moose, Fort Bridger, Fort Laramie, Fort Washington, Hannah, Hudson, Hulet, Dayton, Daniel, and DuBois. We are east of Weston, west of Midwest, north of Newcastle, and south of Sundance. Border to border, we love Wyoming and every one of its communities, bar none.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Nice.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner! Go?
Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
Yeah, Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake here on a Thursday, and we welcome into the room, into the discussion, Secretary of State Chuck Gray recently returned from Washington, D.C. It was the Secretary of State fly-in event. What was that all about, Chuck? How was it?
Jake, we had a great meeting at the White House with other secretaries of state from across the nation on our participation, the state of Wyoming's participation in the SAVE database. Now, let me just paint a little bit of a picture of how much this administration, this Trump administration, is getting done on a day-to-day basis. When Biden was in office, this disastrous Biden administration, this SAVE system, which is supposed to do a live cross-check on citizenship, to stop non-citizens from being able to vote, to stop non-citizens from being able to get benefits. This SAVE database was basically useless. They would not let Wyoming on the database. You could not do batch uploads. You had to search one individual at a time. You were charged a huge rate. And you couldn't even check based on last four Social Security number, which is what election officials have. That's what the state of Wyoming collects at the point of registration. So basically, it was useless. Now, in early March, this Trump administration started a series of optimizations to improve the system. One, allowing batch uploads so that you could search more than one individual at one time. Two, making it free if it is being used for a designated purpose. And one of those is stopping non-citizens from being able to register to vote, which is a slam dunk. I mean, the federal government has a clear interest in supporting the will of the American people, supporting federal law, supporting our federal and state constitution to ensure that only U.S. citizens are voting in elections. And finally, they're doing an optimization to be able to search based on last four of the Social Security number. They're integrating it with the Social Security Administration, which we had been told as election administrators for decades that was going to be impossible. The left said, the insiders said it. This Trump administration, President Trump himself, setting the tone, DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and then specifically USCIS within the Department of Homeland Security is getting the job done. So we had a meeting over in Washington, D.C. about the importance of states participating in the SAVE database. Wyoming joined on July 1st, pursuant to our work, to bring that into the state code in the 2025 legislative session. And now we're working to encourage other states to do just the same so that we can bring this election integrity across the United States.
So the SAVE system working better like it should. That's good news. Did you learn anything hanging out with other secretaries of state about, not to brag on Wyoming, but Wyoming's the best. How are we doing compared to other states with our efforts towards ensuring election integrity? I got to think we're in the forefront the way you've been working at it.
Well, this Mark Elias, who sued us, this radical leftist Russia hoaxer, he said in his brief that Wyoming in just 5 years has gone from bottom 10 in the nation in election integrity to top 10 in the nation in election integrity. And he was acting like it's some kind of problem. That's the way the left sees it. But it's exactly the opposite. It's a great thing. Talking to other secretaries of state, a lot of them were from the South. Most were Republicans at this event. The one thing where we're very weak is banning drop boxes, Jake. This it really hurts the chain of custody in terms of these drop boxes that have been inculcated since COVID-19. Pre-COVID-19, we didn't see it in Wyoming. Didn't see it in Wyoming. Over 125 years of running elections in Wyoming, didn't have these drop boxes. Then all of a sudden they start coming in, getting inculcated during COVID. There's a minority of counties that have them. It's only depending on the cycle, 6 or 7. But most of the southern states have banned these drop boxes. Most of the southern states have a couple of things that Wyoming started to move off of during COVID-19. One, the banning of drop boxes. Two, they really try to emphasize the election day voting, which we have done and have gotten it back basically in between to where it was in COVID-19 and pre-COVID-19. It's basically in between where it was between those periods. The election day voting is where you get the voter ID, where it is a lot. The security is really to the max. And so talking with those southern states, I was talking with them about how we can bring it to the finish line in Wyoming, because it's been a challenge here. We've really tried to strengthen those procedures, but getting that through the legislature has been a challenge, particularly in the state Senate, which has not been conservative as this wonderful conservative majority in the House. And then the governor's office, of course, we know that Mark Gordon is very weak on these issues. He refused to sign our rulemaking on strengthening citizenship procedures, on proof of residency for registering to vote. He wouldn't sign the bill doing those things during the session. He sort of uses the worn out slogans and the lines of the left and Mark Elias when he writes me these sort of tortured 4-page letters, giving excuses as to why he is not going to act in a conservative way. Those challenges, I am convinced we are going to continue to hurdle, and we're going to continue to work to hurdle.
We're talking to Secretary of State Chuck Gray. Secretary, I can understand why a unmonitored box where anybody can do anything to it, it could be a problem with election integrity. What is your specific concerns? Let's say there's a ballot drop box and there's a 24/7 camera on it. Are you concerned that people will tamper with it, ballot box stuffing, throw a stick of dynamite in it? What's the problem with a ballot box?
Well, we've seen that in other jurisdictions where you did have that tampering, and not only the 2024 election, but in 2020 and in municipal elections in between. I mean, there was a very concerning case in New Jersey of ballot stuffing. Now, the state does not review the footage either. And I think that in terms of the election code, not having that check there is not in the spirit of the election code of not having that check, where because the clerks are supposed to be a check on me, and I'm supposed to be a check on the clerks. And I try every time I meet with them that we have to invite that. That's our system of checks and balances, and the election code really gets into that as well. Now, one of the things I just got back from, Jake, yesterday got back from the Secretary of State's conference in Mississippi, where gave a presentation. Now, Jake, I don't know how into the election integrity world you are, but this was the panel at the Secretary of State's conference. And in our world, it was pretty funny. It was Adrian Fontes, who is the Secretary of State of Arizona. They do have proof of citizenship for registering to vote, but he is very opposed to it. He's given a lot of statements saying that he doesn't like it because he's a Democrat. And then we had this Scanlon from New Hampshire that has a very weak proof of citizenship statute that just passed that allows basically the election clerk to do whatever they want. And then here in Wyoming, I sort of gave the third presentation where we have this ironclad requirement that is the first in the nation to apply to all races with that ironclad requirement. So we had a very vigorous debate. And at the White House last week, and now at this other meeting, I'm really trying to put forward this strategy, this 3-pronged strategy to bring forward this election integrity measure across the nation. One, we need to get the SAVE Act through, and that's proof of citizenship for registering to vote at the federal level. It's gone through the House, Jake. It's gone through the House 2 years in a row, and the United States Senate is sitting on it. So we've got to get that rolled into the NDAA, some other must-pass piece of legislation. Want to continue to work with Senators Barrasso and Lummis on a strategy to do that. There's actually an Only Citizen Vote Coalition tour that is starting here 3 weeks from now that is going to highlight the need of linking this federal statute to a must-pass piece of legislation, whether it's the NDAA or reconciliation, getting the Senate parliamentarian to understand why this really should be subject to reconciliation and be able to be placed into some other piece of legislation that is going through, because it's tied to money, it's tied to election administration, which is tied to money. We also need to implement the executive order that President Trump signed March 25th of 2025, Jake. I mean, that is a key priority, and that executive order required the federal voter registration form to have a proof of citizenship requirement within it. And the courts, now we have this lawfare, Elias-like lawyers trying to sue the administration and getting these federal judges to basically prevent this executive order from being able to be implemented. We're partnering with the administration, the Trump administration, in trying to get implementation of this executive order, not only in hurdling these court challenges, but in getting the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, which is at the federal level, which has commissioners that are appointed that set the federal form to comply with this executive order. This is common sense, Jake. And then third, to get states to pass proof of citizenship for registering to vote in their state codes, like Wyoming did, really trying to get these other states, whether it's Mississippi. I mean, we had over 25 states that we were talking to at the Secretary of State's conference to understand why this is so important for election integrity.
I mean, it does seem like common sense. States or the feds asking voters to prove that they're citizens of this country, at the very least, in order to take part in, a great electoral process. That seems a no-brainer. It's because if you're in the country illegally, you're likely to enjoy some of the free handouts that are likely to come from Democrats, so you'll probably vote that way. That makes a big concern. If you can't prove that you're a U.S. citizen to vote, it's also troubling that you're not a U.S. citizen. And let's talk about immigration, customs enforcement, ICE raids. Should we be rounding up people that are in the country illegally and kicking them out? I think you're all for it, right?
Well, President Trump is just doing a fantastic job in enforcing the law. And we saw these very important ICE raids across Wyoming. ICE doing a series of operations here in Wyoming. I put out a statement in clear, total, complete support for what ICE is doing. And Jake, I mean, Jackson's is having a lot of problems with this. I mean, we saw, back in the day when I was in the legislature, was trying to ban sanctuary cities. We started filing that bill in 2018, and the municipalities and the media and the insiders would say, Chuck, this is never going to happen. And my immediate response was, well, why don't we just ban it then? What's the problem with just banning it? Oh, I don't know. And the media and the insiders would come back and find a way to stop this 3 years running. And then we have seen in the last 2 to 3 years, the enormous problems in Teton County, in Jackson, the problems with ICE detainers there, with the county. It's just, we needed to ban sanctuary cities. We got that done in the 2025 session, made it sort of my mission in late 2024 when we got this conservative majority, not only to put the election integrity agenda forward, the conservative election integrity agenda, but because with the institutional knowledge of having served there, seeing how the insiders, the left, the media, all the bills that they've stopped since 2016, 2017, of ensuring that these newer members who are very conservative, that they see some of these bills that we're way behind on, that the insiders stopped back in the day when they had control. So one of those was banning sanctuary cities, and we got that done in the 2025 session. These ICE raids are awesome. They are so important. We have to get enforcement, and it's a long time coming. Going back to this Biden administration, which was, Biden was a disaster, right? I mean, no immigration enforcement, open borders. He can barely form a sentence, inflation out of the roof. We have no idea with this Biden who was making the decisions, the woke stuff all day, every day. Now we've got Sydney Sweeney. I mean, you look at the way that's changed, Jake. That ad was awesome. What did you think of that ad?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all about Sydney.
And the president's putting that forward too. And it's an awesome ad and just awesome. The change we've seen in our country over the last 7-8 months It just, you see that enthusiasm out there, Jake. I do these parades. The enthusiasm with the silent majority. One of the reasons I love doing the parades is that's where the silent majority goes. The insiders, the sort of trade groups that have such sway during the legislative session, the media, that they don't have the majority. They don't have the silent majority, and they're not hanging out at the parades as much. It is the silent majority that is there. And the enthusiasm, the optimism, and the support for this conservative work, it is tremendous. And I'm very, very excited about it.
Yeah, I feel that culture shift as well. And both Trump victories were that silent majority finally getting a voice, because for a long time there was the fear of being outed, being canceled if you so much as spoke truth. One more thing on the whole ICE stuff. Jackson, Wyoming would say, we're not an official, sanctuary city. We never wanted to be. Yet you see liberal stuff, liberal media, the local newspapers publishing photos of ICE operations, including the officers and what they look like. Boy, that's not safe. And the whole immigration thing, let's remember, the focus is not necessarily the voting, although that matters. You shouldn't be able to vote if you're illegal. You shouldn't be, there's national security. There's criminals that are in the country illegally, but it's also respecting the people who have done it right. I know lots of families in Jackson who have waited, sometimes years to get into the country the right way.
Well, and going back, remember, to 2016, I mean, we celebrated a decade since President Trump went down the escalator at Trump Tower there in New York City and announced his presidential candidacy. That was earlier this summer. And you remember the media, I mean, they're always wrong, just like the insiders are always wrong. Remember, they had all these things on why we couldn't do property tax reduction and property tax reform and why we couldn't do the caps. And year after year, they were wrong on that. They were wrong on what banning we wanted to ban sanctuary cities. The insiders, the media were all upset about that. Eventually, we got it done because of the silent majority voter ID. The insiders and the mainstream media had all these excuses in 2018, 19, 2020 of why they were opposed to that and why they wouldn't vote for that. Well, eventually, the silent majority, we got that done. We're seeing that across our nation. And I know here in Wyoming, Jake, I mean, I'm sure you see it at the weddings you do, that enthusiasm. I think the media, they're never going to come around, but at least we are winning because of that silent majority. I look back in the day, I mean, remember when they said, we would have no chance in the general election, the media said, and it's going to be historic. The declines in support amongst Hispanics for the Republican Party. And we saw the Hispanic vote has gone up. The Hispanic support for the Make America Great Again agenda is an all-time high in the 2020, 2024 elections and 2016. President Trump had higher support than the Romneys of the world, these disastrous Jeb Bushes of the world, all these insiders that said that they wanted us to placate the media and the insider narrative. And that was, according to them, the only way that we could win. Remember after the 2012 election, when they blamed it on the fact that we wanted immigration enforcement, common sense Republicans wanted immigration enforcement. They blamed our loss on that and convened that committee to try to get the common sense majority to come off of the grassroots positions on these issues. That's why President Trump is so popular. He said, we are going to put forward these issues in a common sense way, and you just see the support being at historic levels amongst all demographics, including Hispanics.
Yeah, most of the excitement and enthusiasm I sense at weddings is over an open bar, but It could. It could
Jake,
also.
Are you
be...
going to do that segment with the stories? I'm trying to get Jake to do. He sent me this stray text one day about how bored he was at one of these, and I'm like, about how slow it was going, slow the time was going. I'm like, Jake, you got to do segments on the stories, okay? Because I guess most nights it's very exciting.
I have so many wedding stories. I'm going to release a tell-all. Speaking of tell-all, our time is short. Secretary, please let me know your gubernatorial ambitions. I asked Superintendent Degenfelder the other day, got no specific comment. Governor, in the future, are you in a wait and see? Is it off the table? Where are you?
We're in wait and see, but there was a poll done that showed us in the lead in open races for Congress and governor. I think it shows that enthusiasm, that support that I've been seeing in parades across our state with the silent majority. I'm very excited about those numbers. I mean, I think it just shows that we have been advancing President Trump's Make America Great agenda that the people of Wyoming want, and people see that.
Well, whatever the job you're doing in Cheyenne, you're doing it well. Stick to it. Thanks for all the hard work you're doing on behalf of the Cowboy State. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Jake. See you soon.
All right. Secretary of State Chuck Gray of the Cowboy State Daily Show will be right back after this break.
Wyoming is the Cowboy State. From corner to corner, there are so many stories to be told, and more cowboys and cowgirls are turning to the Cowboy State Daily News team to keep them in touch with what's happening both locally and in other parts of Wyoming. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. We're proud to bring the most important stories to our viewers every day. The stories that start conversations, the stories that make us laugh, the stories that make us think. Our experienced journalists at Cowboy State Daily are crisscrossing the state every day, talking to those who know the news best. Every day, host Wendy Core and I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily video newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Sometimes fatherhood
I'm the first Viking who wouldn't kill a dragon.
can feel like an epic battle.
But you will.
But you can change your kid's world just by being there. And with a little help, you won't believe how high they can soar.
All right, bud, you ready?
I'm proud to call you my son.
Come on!
Never stop being a dad. To learn more, visit fathersincorporated.com.
Logan Wilson here at the M Building in Casper, Wyoming. They do more than just support businesses and private events. They support nonprofits by offering reduced rates to help the community thrive. The staff here at the M Building have been incredible in helping me organize a fantastic event. They are great partners for those who want to make a positive impact on the community. Come check out the M for your next event.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
It's the Cowboy State Daily Show on a Thursday. Jackie Dorothy is here. Jackie, well, you're not here. You're there, I think. Are you in Thermopolis?
I am, though I was in your neck of the wood earlier this week.
What were you doing?
Well, we came down. Monday was celebrating the Wyoming Smithsonian Museum. So I got to go down and join in on a picnic. And while I was in Yellowstone, we did see bison and bear. and crazy tourists, just like they all say.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Many tourists doing questionable things with their driving specifically. But all right, well, that's cool. Glad you got out of town for a little bit. Where do you want to steer us with conversation? I have one story that I wanted to chat with you about.
Well, let's talk that then.
Okay, going all the way back to July 20th, your story about Austin Hawkins, his wife developing a life-threatening brain hemorrhage, and it caused him to start writing. What, fill us in on this story.
I love this story. This just talks about human perseverance, basically. So Austin is from Lander, and he actually was spending time in Jackson at the time, working for the national park with his wife when she started getting sick. And ultimately, it turned out that she had issues and was brain hemorrhage, like you said. I can't even say the word this morning. But it was really a horrible time for this couple, but they decided to double down, move to Lander where they could have a consistent doctor and have the help and the support they need. So they moved out of their motorhome, moved into a house, and as part of his therapy, he's like, I'm going to start writing. So he wrote a book. And it was, if you read the description of the book, it looks like I have been reading it, and it's a fun one because he kind of built the character of all the Peter Pans he had met while working at the national parks. He says, these are guys that do not want to grow up. They don't, they are there to live the life, live the van life, and they're all inspired by a guy from the 1960s.
There is a Peter Pan syndrome in Jackson. Yes. So lots of men who, whether it's their dating habits or their job selection, yes, they're Peter Pan syndrome. Well, so what's the deal with Samantha? How is she doing, the wife?
She is doing excellent. He said that she did have surgery last November. And in between all of this, they did have their baby boy. She ended up getting pregnant and they had their first son.
Cool.
That was when he wrote his second draft. And Samantha herself, she's actually a jeweler, making jewelry there in Lander. Yeah, so I thought I'd talk to her sometime later because her jewelry is really unique and beautiful.
Well,
but they're both doing well in Lander.
That's good. And whatever causes you to turn to the pen or the keyboard and start writing, it's always good. You and I, we can appreciate writer. And on that topic, what do you think about these the News Media Corp that shut down all these newspapers? 8 Wyoming newspapers, some of these with hundreds of year history.
Oh, I thought it was devastating. That's part of our legacy. I hope somebody can step up and save at least a few of them, if not all.
Yeah.
I did see that in my news feed, and that was one that caused me to stop, especially like you said, we're both writers, we're both in the news, and I know the value of all these small town newspapers. I've written for the one in Riverton for years, Thermopolis a few times, and even Tin Sleep.
Yeah.
And they're so valuable. I want to see them continue.
I know.
But I know it's a national trend too.
Yeah, well, that's the way the industry's going. But yeah, I hope somehow some of these papers can be saved. Pinedale Roundup, 120 years there. Kemmerer Gazette, Uinta County Herald. Like, these are some significant, important little community newspapers.
One of my favorite sites is Wyoming Newspaper Project. And you go on there and you can see all the newspapers throughout Wyoming that have come and gone. But there was always, you listen to those journalists and those editorials, and they're always been fighting for their newspaper and trying to keep it going.
I do. I love that site as well. There's so many newspapers that are still around, but many that are, you had no idea. You're like, who were these guys? And to, read history through their voices. Journalists they don't make the history, but they certainly document it, and the way they tell it and write it is That's Wyoming history.
We do have some yellow journalists in the state too.
There's
for sure.
There's been some questionable, and then there's been gems like Bill Nye.
I am going to be doing a deep dive into Bill Nye. Once I discovered him in the Boomerang and the Mark Twain of Wyoming.
Totally.
He deserves to be recognized. I hadn't even really heard of him before.
Yeah.
I will admit. I mean, he's over in Laramie, so I'm diving into the history over there as well.
That guy's wit is amazing. He had a Mark Twainism about a trial judge who asked the defendant to stop pointing a gun at him, and I forget what it was. It was so funny. That guy's wit is amazing. I'll think of it if I can, and you've got to do something on him.
I will. I mean, he's a fascinating guy. And when I discovered him when I was doing the Ames story, because he was pushing the guy to claim the Ames Monument property. Yeah. And so when he wrote the story, you could tell whose side he was on. He was completely innocent. He made a claim. Who was he to know that it had a pile of rocks on it that was this $60,000 monument in the 1800s? I did not do a comparison of how much $60,000 is worth in the 1800s, by the way.
Oh, significant.
Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah. Probably 600,000. I don't know, but it's certainly way more today.
It is.
All right. Well, carry on. Have a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to some of your stuff this weekend. History stuff. What's coming out?
Absolutely.
Good.
So we'll have some fun this weekend with the stories.
All right. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. You have a good one.
You too. Jackie Dorothy of the Cowboy State Daily Show. Good to have her on. I'm going to go find that Bill Nye quote. It was so funny. And I wrote a story about it. I should be able to find it somewhere. I'll try to track that down. It was so funny. He was, as Jackie said, the Mark Twain of Wyoming. Just a humorist. I mean, he was like pseudo-legit reporter, journalist, and pseudo-like opinion column. You never knew whether he was telling you the news straight or just giving you some fun. That was back when newspapers definitely got jiggy with it. So we got more coming up. This day in history includes some pretty interesting things, including the incorporation or the birthday or the anniversary of Jackson, Wyoming. It became an official town on this day in 1914, August 7, 1914. In fact, you'll see that on the signs as you come into Jackson. The welcome signs say, since 1914, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That and more when we do This Day in History, which is coming up. We're going to rodeo a little bit as well because it is rodeo season. A lot going on and a lot to do. And the Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake continues after top of the hour news. We'll see you on the other side.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Core. 8 rural communities across Wyoming are without their legacy hometown newspapers after News Media Corp abruptly closed them without notice Wednesday morning. Cowboy State Daily's Greg Johnson spoke to several employees who were notified via phone call and email that their jobs were terminated, effective immediately.
On Wednesday, they came to work, they're ready to go. Most of them, because Wednesday is publication day, they're ready to go to press, and they're told, nope, we're shut down. The group publisher told me that it was as much a surprise to him as it was to anybody else. He had no clue that the shutdown was coming and that it was just going to be that abrupt. People talk these days days about news deserts, big areas that aren't covered by any news. And for 8 of them to just shut down in one day, there's a lot of local news that's just not happening.
Among the shuttered papers is the Pinedale Roundup, which has been the local newspaper for folks in that western Wyoming community for 121 years. Other papers shut down are Wheatland's Platte County Record-Times, the Guernsey Gazette, the Torrington Telegram, Lusk Herald, Uintah County Herald, Bridger Valley Pioneer, and the Kemmerer Gazette. The Wyoming Democratic Party is hopeful a newly announced series of town halls in districts considered Republican strongholds will prove to Wyomingites it's not backing down in the face of fierce Republican opposition. Democrats currently hold a combined 8 seats in the state legislature, with 2 in the Senate and 6 in the House. Cowboy State Daily's Jackson Walker reports that state Democratic leaders are now pushing back through a series of listening events scheduled in red districts across Wyoming.
When I asked a Democratic Party chairman for the state of Wyoming if he was inspired by this tour that was done on the federal level, he said no. He said this is something that we're doing locally. We're only focusing on the state of Wyoming. And he wants to show people that Democrats are here for Wyoming voters. They're caring about the issues that are important to them, and they're ready to turn the tide, given some of the unpopular decisions that Republican lawmakers may have made in recent days.
Areas scheduled to host these listening sessions include Cheyenne, Casper, Lander, and Park County, with more sessions planned. More than 200 Laramie County residents converged on a meeting of the county's governing board Tuesday to criticize proposed land use rule changes impacting home-based businesses. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that nearly 4 hours of public testimony revealed a chasm between the way the commissioners characterized the new rules and the way meeting attendees characterized them.
There was a lot of information online circulating like, oh, this is going to abridge the Wyoming Food Freedom Act and shut everyone's business down. Shut down lemonade stands or require all this onerous permitting. And county officials were really kind of slack-jawed because they were like, we're deregulating. We're actually making a less onerous plan, but it's raising attention now because we didn't thoroughly enforce the old rules.
The Laramie County Board of Commissioners adopted the controversial new land use regulations, but not until after a unanimous vote to remove a proposed permitting requirement for home-based businesses that had enraged those business owners. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Looking for something truly unforgettable? Head to the Cody Night Rodeo, where real cowboy action comes alive every night beginning at 8. From bucking broncs to bull rides, it's America's original night rodeo right here in Cody, Wyoming. The rodeo capital of the world. It's family fun, wild rides, and true Western excitement under the lights. Cody is rodeo.
For the 3rd time this year, a wolf transplanted to Colorado wandered across state lines into Wyoming and died, although the wolf's death wasn't officially announced until nearly 2 weeks later. Colorado Parks and Wildlife learned on July 24th that wolf 2304, a female, had died in Wyoming. Outdoors reporter Mark Hines spoke to residents along the Colorado-Wyoming border who say that wolves crossing into Wyoming and dying are an inevitable consequence of the animal's natural urge to wander.
I talked to one person who isn't all that crazy about the wolves being there in Colorado who said maybe they're trying to get home. I talked to another person who's very much for the wolf recovery program who said this kind of proves the need for that federal court ruling that could possibly lead to wolves being relisted as an endangered species.
Wolves remain protected in Colorado and may not be legally hunted there, but in the part of Wyoming along the Colorado state line, wolves are classified as a predatory animal. That means they may be killed on site at any time with no hunting license required. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.
You talk to... In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now
that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Cowboy State Daily, and Mark Hines pops in. He's the Cowboy State Daily celebrity writer, sort of the page 6 journalist. At least it looks like you are now, dropping A-lister names like Sydney Sweeney, Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver.
Yeah.
We'll talk about why those names are in the Mark Hines beat of late. But let's talk wolves first. Do you think wolves, kind of like bears when they're captured and released, feel like they want to get back to where they were from? Like they have the ability to wander hundreds, thousands of miles to go.
Yeah, I don't know, Jake. I couldn't. You'd have to talk to people smarter than me. Maybe,
or
I mean,
wolves.
they certainly, yeah. I mean, they will wander. My understanding is that juveniles of either of those species will wander.
Yeah, they're trying to
kind of like juvenile humans will.
Yeah, they're trying to carve out their way, their destiny, their life.
Yeah.
Yep. They're of that age. These introduced wolves in Colorado, I mean, successful to the degree that they're having litters, that we got a lot of wolves in Colorado now, but also some unsuccess stories, wolves wandering into Wyoming, getting into trouble with ranches, or just dying. What do we know about this female 2304 wolf?
Well, just what we reported, that it came into Wyoming and died sometime around July 24th. The agencies aren't saying how. The statement from Wyoming Game and Fish seems to hint that it was legally shot, but we can't verify that for 100% certain. But wolves. If you talk to biologists, wolves die a lot of ways out. Being killed by other wolves is a big one, as well as getting kicked in the face by something they're trying to hunt. There's all sorts of things. But I'm still kind of shocked. The average lifespan of a wolf in the wild, even without human meddling, is like what 4 to 5, maybe 6 years. They just don't live that long. But yeah, Jake, you're right. I mean, that's one more cause for mortality in the wolves in Colorado is crossing the state line into Wyoming.
Were you able to learn from CPW or anyone how they knew about this wolf? Did they radio collar every one of the wolves?
I don't know that they radio collared every single one of them, but this wolf apparently was.
Okay.
And I imagine CPW probably found out because the caller gave off a mortality signal.
Yeah.
But yes, this particular wolf was collared because CPW reported that Game and Fish returned the collar to them. So there you have it.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes it obvious. Let's go back to your story. On August 5th, a federal judge's ruling. The ruling doesn't automatically put wolves back on the endangered list, but the ruling did say that there was merit to a lawsuit, and Fish and Wildlife Service may have acted.
Kind of a legal back and forth. Let's see if I can describe it in an elevator pitch that makes sense.
Yeah.
The groups, the coalition of groups initially petitioned the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to relist wolves in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, as well as some other states. FWS rejected that petition, and so the groups subsequently sued, and the judge ruled that FWS was in the wrong for rejecting that petition, that they didn't give it just consideration. So now FWS is being told by the court to go back and basically kind of like the teacher telling a kid, go back and do it again this time. In other words, come back to the court with another argument or another plan for managing wolves, and I think kind of implying, justify why they shouldn't be relisted as endangered, but do a better job of explaining it. So I hope that wasn't too complex or too muddled. Sometimes I kind of muddle my way through things, but basically, long story short, yeah, there's a possibility there that this could eventually, start the dominoes falling towards a relisting of wolves. But it's very much a could. It's very much a possible at this point. All we know at this point is that Fish and Wildlife Service has kind of been sent back to the drawing board.
Which might not be actually a bad idea, considering they got a new guy in charge, Brian Nesvig. Maybe he wants to put, maybe he does want to go right back to the drawing board and say, this is why we delisted wolves. And maybe it's,
maybe you're correct from that. That's certainly a legitimate perspective that Brian Nesvig could see that this is his opportunity to shine. And those who favored the delisting and don't like his approach could say, okay, this is his opportunity to fail. So depending on who's doing the talking and what perspective you're coming from. But long story short, I think we're far from this being resolved. This is going to continue going back and forth. I mean, like I've said before, I've been watching this for 30 years, and in a lot of ways, everything old is new again. You hear the same points on both sides being brought back up, and the same arguments going back and forth, and on we go.
Well, while this political football gets kicked back and forth, we can concentrate on something completely different. Our buddy Cade Cole in Du Bois is kind of riffing off.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea to hitch your wagon to Sydney Sweeney. She's got to be the hottest celebrity going, whether it's her actual work in film and TV or whether it's her controversial used bath water or the American Eagle jeans thing.
Eagle, yeah.
Golly, it's just dominating the news cycle.
There's that cynical point of view. I think, I don't know who said it first, but there's no such thing as bad publicity. So, if I'm sitting in the marketing department at American Eagle Jeans, I'm probably thinking that, we're getting a lot of publicity. It's not all good publicity. Not everyone is thrilled by that for various reasons.
But they're selling product, I'll bet.
They're getting attention. I mean, and again, that's a really cynical way of looking at it, but you can look at it and say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it works, it works. But but you're right. I mean, what got me about really what pulled me in with Cade's photo is the look on that dog's face. It just, he's like, what? Why am I here? What are you doing? It's just,
I'm looking at that photo now. Yeah, he's like, who is Sydney Sweeney and what the heck is going on? He does not want to be there. Right. He is a non-compliant actor in this photo shoot. Yeah, but Cade, Cade always comes up with something crazy. He's got a sense of humor for sure. Yeah, he's a few weeks away from hunting season getting going, so he's got time to put together something funny. You must be listening to the Cowboy State Daily Show. I did talk about this Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, the scene from their movie Marriage Story where they're yelling at each other. It made for Oscar nominations for both of them.
It really did.
It also apparently drives wolves crazy to hear people arguing.
Apparently nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear a married couple fighting.
Right. But it's used by USDA used it in a case in
Oregon. That's what I understand. USDA Oregon, and they've the guys up in Montana say that they've used live feed of themselves screaming at the grizzly bears to get them to move, and so it can be effective. But I think as Carter Niemeyer pointed out, it can be limited. You can overdo it. These animals are really intelligent. It might not take them that long to figure out that it's just a bunch of noise. But But yeah, the consensus seems to be when, in certain circumstances, when it's prudently applied and it's not overdone, it can be highly effective to fly drones at them with whatever. And in this case, apparently, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson screaming at each other was the secret sauce, and the wolves are just like, no.
I wonder if the government had to get the rights to that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's weird.
Did they have to get
right? Can we pay for a piece of that movie?
Well, speaking of no publicity or any publicity is good publicity. If I'm the agent for Adam Driver or Scarlett Johansson, I'm loving this because it's getting their names back out there.
Yeah. Now, how many people are renting The Marriage Story?
Exactly. I gotta watch this movie now.
I like the idea, though. Different things have been used via drone or whatever. Sometimes loudspeakers will blare, some annoying music. Maybe they'll play Rick Astley's, that 80s song.
They rickroll people. Yeah.
Rickroll those bears. But I like the idea of using human voices because it has a dual effect of, one thing, and wolves aren't used to, and you want human voices associated with get out of here, wolves, in case they hear an actual human voice, so that's probably good. But yeah, wolves are smart. At what point do they be, desensitized to the whole thing?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good stuff.
Cool.
Whether, celebrity A-listers and wolves is the topic from Mark Hines.
Can't lose with those. All right.
Have a great weekend, Mark.
You too.
All right.
Hang in there. Bye.
Mark Hines, Cowboy State Daily show appearance, and we'll do this day in history right after we take this break in history.
Wyoming is a big state. There's so much ground to cover, so many stories to tell. But the Cowboy State Daily News team is up to the challenge. I'm Wendy Core, host of Cowboy State Daily Video News. Whether it's politics in Cheyenne, energy issues in the Powder River Basin, or grizzlies in Yellowstone, our talented crew of experienced journalists are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. What's the best restaurant in DuBois? Renee Jean checks it out. What's the most recent Supreme Court decision mean to our everyday lives? Claire McFarland explains. How is the upcoming elk hunting season shaping up? Mark Hines lets us know. Every day, I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites, and in our daily newscast, I bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily Video Newscast every morning, only on CowboyStateDaily.com. This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
I don't think many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward It's totally worth it.
Well, it's finally come. It's finally happened in my lifetime. We're going to get the first female umpire in baseball. We've already got women officiating basketball games. The NFL 10 years ago hired its first full-time female official referee. And now, for the first time ever, Major League Baseball is going to have a woman umpire. Jen Powell breaks the gender barrier. She can't be any worse than some of the umpiring I've seen lately. And most of it involves ball and strike calls behind the plate. Some close plays at first base or a tag, those are all reviewable. So even when umpires get it wrong, which is, I'm pretty impressed with how umpires are able to get some of those plays that are so quick. It's just bang, bang. Did he really get the tag before the guy got to the base? I mean, in real time, when you get one shot of looking at it, I'm impressed with how well the umpires do. Even though some of these calls end up getting overturned now that they have replay in baseball, which, that gives me heartburn. But the balls and strikes, I mean, you can't review those. And sometimes you see these umpires, you see a pitch that's nowhere near a strike and they call it a strike, or one that's right down the middle and they call it a ball. Which leads you to think that in the not too distant future, the balls and strikes are going to be called by a computer. And we now have the technology to figure out whether a ball is in the strike zone, and no more interpretation, no more, this umpire will call a lot of high strikes and not necessarily low ones. And consistency is going to be what you strive for, and that's why technology pretty soon here is going to be calling balls and strikes. We're almost to the point where we've eliminated the job for any kind of human official on the baseball field, and really in all sports. Talk about AI takeover. AI is taking over sports officiating, because humans can't do it very well, or there's too many arguments, too many close calls, too many reviews. Let's go to the videotape. Too many, that last play under review. Pretty soon, it'll be all AI that's going to officiate sports. You see it coming. But congrats to Jen Powell. She is the first woman umpire in a Major League Baseball game. She'll do her thing this weekend. Let me figure out what game she's going to officiate. I'll tell you one thing that will change with a female umpire, not necessarily the calls on the field, whether they get better or worse, but the arguments. No manager is going to win an argument against Jen, right? When it comes to arguing with a woman, that's going to be a short argument. I don't know if she'll throw a manager out, eject him, but when a manager comes out to argue with a female ump, that's not going to end well for the manager. Commissioner Rob Manfred said in a statement that Jen has earned this opportunity. We're proud of the strong example she has set. Powell is a 48-year-old woman from New Jersey. She worked a few spring training games in 2024 and this spring, and she will become the fifth umpire to debut this year and the first woman. And she's going to work, what game is it this weekend that she's been assigned to? I have to read the whole article to find out. Just tell me where we can watch her work. this weekend. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts is all for Jen. He likes the idea. A couple of Phillies players were Philadelphia. Philly star Trey Turner said, I don't know much about her, but we did see her a lot in spring training, and she's done a great job. I'm happy for her, said Trey Turner. Powell was an all-state softball soccer player in New Jersey. So she comes up in the sports world where, well, they don't say, maybe they don't say in this article where she's going to work. But yeah, this weekend, for the first time, Major League Baseball will have a female umpire. That's cool. I'm down with that. Because, you know, some of the guys I've seen umpiring this year, they need to have their eyes examined. This day in history, 1886, Fort Fred Steele was deactivated. A town remained behind where the fort had been and survived for many decades until finally the Lincoln Highway, the introduction of the Lincoln Highway bypassed it, and suddenly Fort Fred Steele was no more. It's just returned to sagebrush at this point. 1892 on this day, Johnson County invaders plead not guilty in Cheyenne to charges against them. It was all part of the Johnson County Wars. 1895, a Buffalo town hall was swept away in a flood. Not a town hall meeting, like Buffalo's actual town hall floated away on this day in history, 1895. As I mentioned before, Jackson, the town of Jackson, was incorporated on this day in 1914. 1974, the Garrett Allen Prehistoric Site, that's in Carbon County, by the way, was added to the National Registry of Historic Places. And in 2009, Commander Diego Hernandez relieved Commander Roger Isom as commander of the USS Wyoming during a change of command ceremony at the Naval Submarine Base in Kings Bay Chapel. All these things happen on this day in history. It's August 7. It's time to rodeo, and that means our Western Ag Network and the Rodeo Roadshow with Will Rasmussen.
It's the Rodeo Roadshow on the Western Ag Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Rasmussen. Good to have you along. Today, Shane Hatchie is our guest. He is always so generous with his time and efforts. He is a world champion tie-down roper. We'll talk about the week he had last week, which was a good one. Top 15 in the world, tie-down roper and world champion Shane Hatchie on the Rodeo Roadshow coming up next.
Cattle producers join Western Video Market Monday, August 11th at Little America in Cheyenne, Wyoming for their next big summer video sale. 40,000 head of cattle sell, leading off with some reputation special program, wean calves and yearlings. There's also a large consignment of high-quality beef on dairy cross cattle out of Kansas. For all the details and list of consignments, visit WVMCattle.com. Sale time is 8 a.m. Watch live online or on the Dish Network, channel 998.
Growers across the region have successfully planted another Molson Coors barley crop, and before too long, combines will be rolling through the golden-ripe fields. Hi, this is Justine Paxton, a fourth-generation farmer from Basin, Wyoming. Bill Coors coined the phrase, barley is to beer as grapes are to wine, and he's right. That's why Molson Coors uses Moravian barley, a variety bred to be one of the highest quality and best yielding varieties available. We are proud to raise barley for Molson Coors, a company known for always supporting farmers in rural America.
Rodeo Roadshow today. Always great to catch up with a world champion from the great South, Louisiana, Texas, wherever he's living at the time, and he hasn't been home in a while. 15-time qualifier to the National Finals Rodeo. He's a world champion. He's in the top 15 in the world. The great Shane Hatchie on the line. Shane is in between Logan, Utah, and Jerome, Idaho somewhere, and You've had a good week. Talk about it, Shane.
Yeah, thanks for calling again. I sure do enjoy talking all things with you, Will. Yeah, we had a good week. Finally, the 24th was pretty slow. Some So we needed a good week this week and was able to win Heber City and won second at Strathmore and placed in the second round of Dodge City. So all in all, it was about a $13,000 week. And then we got started this morning, first thing at Logan, and we're winning something here. And we're headed to Jerome, Idaho for tonight, and then tomorrow we're up at Homedale, Idaho, and then New Plymouth, Idaho, and then we finish the week off at Hermiston on Friday, and then Omak on Saturday. So
Shane Henchey is a sports encyclopedia. We'll find that out in coming shows of the Rodeo Roadshow. Thanks for taking us along. I'm Will Rasmussen on the Western Ag Network.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake.
Yes, it is. And speaking of rodeo, they got a bit of a rodeo there in Cody. So what are your plans for this weekend? I can guess if you're anywhere around Park County where you should be going, looking for a real Wild West experience, Cody, Wyoming's got your ticket to ride. They've been throwing down since 1919. It's the world-famous Cody Stampede Rodeo, and when the sun sets, the Cody Night Rodeo keeps the action going every night all summer long. Bulls, broncs, big-time cowboy energy in the only town where rodeo is a nightly tradition, because in Cody, rodeo's not just an event, it's a way of life. Wyoming Democrat lawmakers are out there holding town halls of their own, traveling the state. My two favorite Democrats, Mike Yin and Carly Provenza, both representatives, both in the state house, are hitting the road, holding town hall meetings outside of their own districts later this month. They'll travel to Cheyenne, Casper, Lander, Park County, all with the message to let folks know Democrats are still around and still alive in Wyoming. The Wyoming Democratic Party hoping to newly announce, they're hopeful of these newly announced series of town halls. And they're heading right into the teeth of the tiger, right into the eye of the hurricane, or whatever metaphor you want to use. They're going to Republican strongholds in order to prove to Wyomingites that Democrats are not backing down in the face of fierce Republican opposition. I enjoy talking to Mike and Carly. I think they're super smart. I'm glad we have them. I'm glad we have Democrats. I mean, I say that as a Yankee fan. I'm kind of glad we have the Red Sox, because you can't have the Yankees without the Red Sox. You can't have Republicans without Democrats. There needs to be at least two parties just to keep everybody in check. It works better that way. Democrats currently hold a combined 8 seats in state legislature, 2 in the Senate, 6 in the House. The Democratic Party has no representation at the federal level. Wyoming's entire congressional delegation is all Republican. That includes Hageman, Lummis, and Barrasso. The party is facing struggles of its own. Cowboy State Daily has talked about how the state central committee currently operates at a financial loss. Party officials estimated back in June they could be left with only 2 weeks worth of funding by the end of this year, 2025. So it's back against the wall time for Democrats. Nationally and definitely in Wyoming, but they're never going away. And to prove it, state Democratic Party leaders say they're going to storm right into red counties and show voters that they're not disappearing and they're not shrinking away. Expect Representatives Mike Yin from the Jackson area and Carly Provenza from down there in Cheyenne, Laramie area to hold town halls in Cheyenne, Casper, Lander, and Park County. More about where and when they'll be, I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Wyoming Republican Party Chair Brian Miller was pretty harsh about the events. What did Miller say? He did not hold back any punches. Miller said, okay, here's his quote from an email, I think. The Wyoming Democratic Party has struggled to remain relevant in Wyoming for years. It's no surprise to me that they face extinction here, just as the National Democratic Party seems to be doing, considering both are so out of touch with public sentiment these days. The words of the head of the Republican party in the state of Wyoming. That's Brian Miller. Yeah. There are 31,888 registered Democratic voters in Wyoming as of August this year. That represents about 11.6% of all registered voters. So the minority, yes, for sure, but not going away. The story is from Cowboy State Daily's newest reporter, Jackson Walker, as he talks about Mikey and Carly Provenza, both House reps. Carly from Laramie, Mike from Jackson, holding town hall meetings this summer in the near future here. So, yeah. I don't know a lot about this story. Claire McFarland's coverage of the Laramie County and Laramie County commissioners got an earful, I think 4 hours of public testimony earful about a controversial plan, permitting plan that a lot of folks thought would infringe on Wyoming's Food Freedom Act. And whether it does or not, I think is still up for debate. I think the takeaway here is at least government and the people are on the same page when they both say, at least from the quotes in the Claire McFarland story, both local government, that meaning the Laramie County commissioners, and the people, the constituents represented in Laramie County, both agreed that what we want is less government intrusion, less red tape, less regulations, less government. That is a common theme through this story. Now, there's been miscommunication in this story. There's been two different sides of the rhetoric that don't seem to fit together. And I'm not sure what the cause of that is. Laramie Board of County Commissioners adopted a controversial new land use regulation, but not after they had to scrap part of it because of a lot of folks that came out. More than 200 Laramie County residents converged on a meeting Tuesday to criticize the proposed land use rule changes that would have impacted home-based businesses. In particular, they were talking about, small operations concerning food. This vote was unanimous to finally pass the reg, but it was stripped of the part that people really objected to. The vote followed nearly 4 hours of public testimony. Detractors of the land use rule change said it was government overreach when they were talking about the permitting that would be required. The commissioners responded by saying, look, we're not trying to make a lot of government red tape. We're not saying that you've got to be permitted to run, a lemonade stand, or we're not trying to oppress small businesses when it comes to food. They were looking at targeting something else. In fact, they said this new land use rulings and regulations would remove more government intrusion and red tape, but the residents didn't see it that way. They thought it was more onerous. Both sides, though, seem to agree that the end game, what everyone wants, is less regulation. Here's in the words of Danelle Pugh, she's a home bakery business. She runs a home bakery business called Danelle's Delights. She celebrated this decision, and she sells baked goods at the Cheyenne Farmers Market, stuff like that. She was worried about what this new stuff would do, new regulations in Laramie County, and possibly infringing on the fairly recent state bill and state act and state law concerning food freedom. She said now with the permitting requirement gone, Wyoming remains a beacon for those escaping over regulation elsewhere. I agree. We all worry about government over-regulation. The Laramie County commissioners also mentioned that as well, that's not their intent. So, yeah, we're on the same page there. And I'm glad things got worked out. Claire McFarland has that story in the Cowboy State Daily. If you want to dig in and learn more, I didn't represent it nearly as detailed enough. Claire did, though, in her story. Check it out. We'll take a quick break. We got special guest Fred Hollingshead is going to get into the Zoom room. We'll do it right after this.
Want to stay in touch with what's happening around Wyoming? I'm Wendy Core, host of the Cowboy State Daily video newscast. From Mountain View to Upton, from Jackson to Cheyenne, our reporters are out there finding and telling the stories that matter. Every day, I talk to the talented journalists who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, I bring you their stories. Tune in to Cowboy State Daily video news every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com. You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Who can you turn to for news you can trust? Your local TV and radio broadcasters. You trust us to keep you safe during times of crisis and to deliver the weather, sports, and entertainment you rely on every day. We bring you the facts you need to make decisions that matter. And as misinformation floods social media, you can trust your local stations to deliver the truth. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress you rely on your local stations for trusted news.
You handle the healthcare, we'll handle the marketing. In need of a spark for marketing your medical practice? Loom Studio provides creative and strategic healthcare marketing that illuminates the path to bigger and better experiences for your business and your patients. We specialize in branding and design, social media, website design, SEO and SEM, not to mention content creation, public and media relations, and marketing metrics to ensure you're getting results. If you're looking to increase your patient engagement and retention, enhance your community impact, and streamline your marketing efforts, our team is ready to help you achieve your goals. Contact us today and learn more at loomstudio.com.
We come from a long line of farmers, and there's a sense of pride, but there's also a significant amount of pressure.
Farmers have to take care of their physical and their mental health, because what's a farm without a farmer?
Watching the sun come up, that's my time. I can have a cup of coffee, and every day's a new opportunity.
That's cool. Your hand's gotten so big. Yay!
Don't forget to check in on yourself. Love your mind.
Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake continues on this Thursday as we welcome in Fred Hollingshead. He's the director of the Cowboy State Virtual Academy. We got to start off right away defining what that is, Fred, because it's a unique, novel concept, an alternative form of learning, which we're all about in the Cowboy State. And if you didn't read Jackie Dorothy's story going back last month, June 1st, about some kids that have enjoyed learning in this way, virtual academy, maybe you missed it. So get us up to speed, Fred. What exactly, since 2017, has Cowboy State Virtual Academy? What is it? It's learning. It's meeting kids on their terms meeting
right.
kids where they are, but explain what it is.
Yeah. So in Wyoming, the state has a process for school districts, public school districts, to start or run virtual academies. As you mentioned, in our state, we are very pro parent choice for school options. And I think a lot of our parents are looking for ways to provide opportunities for their kids to learn at home, whether it's through homeschool or through, like in this case, of a virtual education. So Sheridan #1 up here in Ranchester began the CSBA in 2017, and we can enroll students from across the state. Not all programs do that. Some choose to just enroll students locally or regionally, in maybe the surrounding counties. But an option like this, like our program, provides families that unique opportunity to educate their students, their children, through public education. And our state has a great system, of course, but also have a lifestyle that meets their needs in a variety of different ways.
Yeah, and we're talking about those lifestyles. Jackie highlighted in her story what they might be. It might be an aspiring rodeo kid or somebody who's like really, really, really good at sports, may have a future in playing professionally. So they commit a lot of their time to that, especially time that would have been during the day when they should be at school. There was even, some high school kids that work, man. They got like a full-time job. Whatever the reason, there's a gap there. There's kids that maybe would enjoy learning when they're ready to learn. It could be a weekend. It could be later at night. So sometimes it's all about schedule, right? I mean, Cowboy State Virtual Academy, it allows kids to work when they have time. What it also does, I think, Fred, that I think is important is it gets a inherent buy-in from the kid. If the student is serious about education, rather than being told, get up, go to school, sit here, there's your class, there's automatic buy-in if you're going to do this. If you want to pursue rodeo or whatever it is, and you're going to go to the virtual academy, you have to take a great responsibility towards getting your stuff done. That's important. Have you seen that creates a success?
Yeah, I would say that's at the forefront of success in our program is the student motivation, and the parent support at home. So, our program operates very differently from the others in the state. In fact, like our kids, they don't have a required time to be online with teachers, which is not always the case in the other programs. And by the way, because of that, we're very selective about the students that we say yes to when we enroll. Because not all students have that motivation, and many of them actually they're looking for and need some face time with teachers, which makes other programs perhaps a better option than ours. But certainly the kids that we see, and you mentioned, the rodeo or sports. I mean, hockey, we've got quite a few hockey kids, for example, that play travel hockey. But even the family lifestyles, the ranch families that we have in our state, of which there are obviously many, it allows those kids to participate in the ranch during the day, and they can come back in the evening and do their work. As you said, they can do their schoolwork on the weekends. There's really no time constraint. We have families that do a lot of travel. They might have parents that grandpas and grandmas that need more care. And so it allows our families to travel as much as they need to, because kids can work from anywhere on the world, really. And we actually had a family last year that grandpa and grandma were in Europe and not doing well. And so the family actually went to live in Europe for a few months. Obviously, they maintained Wyoming residency, but they were there for an extended period of time to care for the grandparents, and the kids were still able to work. And even the time zone difference doesn't make a difference, right? You also mentioned the high school students. We have seniors who are often, or juniors even, who are often primary caregivers in their home. Their income helps support the family. And so it allows our kids, if needed, to work full-time jobs and still be able to complete their high school career and earn that diploma.
Yeah. Yeah, there's myriad reasons why your kid may benefit, and maybe some we haven't even thought of. I appreciate that you do screening to find those, probably rare situations where somebody's just trying to get out of school, frankly. And the statistics show the graduation rate of Cowboy State Virtual Academy above the state average at 93.3%. So what is the online learning? Give me an idea, Fred, because we all learned during COVID. Some kids can't do the screen thing. I don't know if it's that. Are you interacting with a teacher face-to-face necessarily, or are you just doing your schoolwork when it's convenient for you? What is it? Yeah, so specifically to our program, our kids, there's no face-to-face time that's required. And unless a kid is struggling, we have teachers that will reach out that will say, hey, you're not really getting something here in your math class. I want to meet with you. When are you available to do a Zoom meeting, something like that? But it also works the other way, where we'll have students reach out to our teachers and say, I really need some help here. And it might be a phone call. It might be a Zoom meeting or something. There's a variety of ways to communicate. We use a vendor called Schools PLP for our curriculum, and they have a built-in messaging system that students use all the time. Frankly, it's one of the best features I think that the kids appreciate, is because the dang thing acts like text messaging. It looks like something we're all used to when it pops up. And so it's very easy, and the kids are willing to communicate using that system because they connect to it, in their daily life. Well, there's no denying the flexibility of this education option. Fred Hollingshead, the director of Cowboy State Daily Virtual Academy, utilizing dozens of teachers, many of whom are at these school districts we're talking about. What are the requirements, the statutes? These are kids that are enrolled in a brick and mortar school, but they can opt to do this kind of education? Yeah, so in Wyoming, statute requires kids between ages of 7 and 16 to be enrolled in a school somewhere, and that can be a home school, a charter school, a private school, public school. But by statute, they have to be in a school enrolled. Kids, we're in Ranchester, but if we have a student all the way down in Evanston who wants to enroll in our program, our district is required to enroll them in one of our schools. So officially, the kid lives in the state system as it being enrolled, let's say at Tongue River High School, but the student never sets foot in that brick and mortar building. They're in Evanston, and they just do all of their classes sitting at home or wherever they're at virtually, but they stay enrolled in a school by statute. And so it's sort of this weird kind of gray area, but kids are enrolled in schools, but it doesn't feel like it to them. It feels more like homeschool. And I always tell our parents, when I try to explain this to them, I want them to know that they're signing up for public education in Wyoming, which is great. But when you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and Uncle Joe wants to know how the kids are doing in school, you can say, well, we homeschool the kids. That's fine. In terms of vocabulary, it doesn't matter what you call it as a parent. But I just need everybody to know that when you're enrolled in one of our like this program or any of the others in the state, that kids are enrolled in public education in Wyoming. We're talking to Fred Hollingshead, director of Cowboy State Virtual Academy. Learn more, get a little background, read Jackie Dorothy's story from June 1st about kind of get an introduction as to what it is. But what it isn't is a shortcut, an end around, an easy, straight, rigorous. This is Wyoming curricula, aligned with Wyoming standards and Wyoming teachers certified in this state. That's right. And frankly, in our program, most of our teachers, probably 75 or 80% of them, actually work in our brick and mortar schools. And then they work with some of our students in the CSVA additionally. But they all live here in the Sheridan County, and they all teach in our schools. And then we have other teachers and other staff that
live in Wyoming and live in this area. All of us live in Sheridan County except for a couple. We have one in Casper and one in Riverton, but otherwise we are all local here. And so when your student enrolls in the CSVA, they're earning, and it's a challenge for sure, but they're earning a Tongue River High School diploma taught by Sheridan County #1 teachers.
Well, let's get down to the details of it, CSVA, and that means money. How, we hear about, I know Superintendent Megan Degenfelder is, unfortunately, we got that money tied up in litigation, but what are the ways that this can be funded? Is there any kind of programs that can get funding? What's it going to cost a family if they have interest and this might be the right plan for their kid?
Jake, that's a great question, and I think it's one that we get a lot. Is how much does it cost? And again, I go back to the fact that this is true public education, and your students, who are with us are enrolled in a public school in our school district, and therefore it's state funded. So attending the CSVA does not cost parents anything. You mentioned the education savings account, the legacy scholarship that the state has passed. I think that number is $7,000 that's available to homeschool families if they choose to sign up for it. And that's what's in litigation right now. And there's an injunction on it and all that stuff going on. So the parents haven't been able to start that. But that money is completely separate, right? Because that money is designated for homeschool families, those families that choose to not enroll their kids into public education, but instead educate their kids through whatever program they want to at home. And so that money cannot be used at all to enroll with us. And it's not even needed because our program is free to all Wyoming children.
Well, maybe CSVA sounds right for you. Maybe your kids will become one of the 170 or more student body currently growing every day. What do we do? If this sounds right, if it sounds interesting to you, let's get started. And remember, you're going to feel them out, and they're going to feel you out, the vetting process, but they'll get back to you within a couple of days, and you'll probably meet with Fred and see if enrollment's right for you. When is enrollment? How do we even get started, Fred?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. We're actually enrolling right now. We began taking applications last week, and we are processing those. Besides myself, we have other admissions counselors. And when parents complete our pre-registration form, which they can find on our website at cowboystate.org, not to be confused with you guys, of course, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, they can find our pre-registration form, complete that, and that will get the process rolling. It doesn't take too long to work through it all.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, you mentioned our graduation rate, something we're really proud of. I mean, this past year, we did have, Jake, they calculate graduation rate based on all the kids that have entered your building between 9 and 12, those grades. And if some kids leave, even in 9th or 10th grade, and let's say they drop out of school, that kid still stays as part of your denominator for calculation of graduation rate. But I'll say last year we had 40 seniors, and all of them that were in our program graduated. I mean, we have found some secret sauce, I think, but a lot of it is because we identify kids that we believe can be successful and who want to do the work. And so, like you said earlier, it's not about hiding from the system and not wanting to get an education. In the CSVA, we take it very seriously, and we're very proud of the fact that we have a program to support all kids and get them to a diploma if that's the direction they want to go.
Yeah, and I'll think you'll find buy-in from the kids and their parents is even, more so than your conventional public education. If you're in the CSVA, I think you're committed. You're already showing that you're a different kind of student because the schedule works for you. You'll learn when you want to, and yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. What a great idea.
Great.
Wishing you much success. Thanks for being on, Fred.
Yeah, thanks, Jake, for your time.
You bet. Fred Hollingshead, Director of CSVA. Check it out. See if it's going to work for you. Cowboy State Virtual Academy. And that'll do it for this hour. Top of the hour news now. Next.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Core. About 25,000 Sturgis motorcycle rally bikers made a pit stop in tiny Hulet, Wyoming on Wednesday for the town's famous Ham and Jam street party. Picnic tables are set out in the shade beside the Ponderosa Cafe, vendors line the street, and the Harleys never seem to stop buzzing. Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that it feels a bit like a summer reunion.
It just feels like, I don't know, a backyard neighborhood barbecue or something. Strangers sit next to each other and meet each other and talk to each other and tell their whole life story sometimes, even when you're trying to work. And that is, I think, the secret sauce to the Ham and Jam, is just that camaraderie. It's America coming together. It's really the world. The world comes to Hulet for this.
Meeting people and making new friends, not to mention being a little adventurous and trying new things, are just a few of the other things people mention when they talk about their attraction to the Wyoming side of the Sturgis Rally in the Black Hills. Across the West, a divisive symbol of prudent government cost-cutting to some and creeping authoritarianism and tech-enabled elitism to others is making its way to national parks such as Yellowstone and other federally protected public lands, carrying a message. The message is delivered via a giant Elon Musk head. Cowboy State Daily's Justin George reports that a sign on the trailer hauling the gigantic bust reads, "Make America Wait Again," now with longer lines thanks to Doge cuts.
They're just going from park to park. They're staying anonymous. What they're trying to do is protest. Elon, as we all know, headed up Dodge, the protest group. They've reached out to Cowboy State Daily after they went to Yellowstone Park and said that they were responsible for this. They said that they're just doing this strictly to protest the cuts that have happened to the park system. It has gone to Yosemite National Park. It's gone to Arches National Park in Utah. It's gone to Yellowstone, and it's gone to Mount Rainier. It plans to head to other places, and so you may see it if you're traveling around this summer.
Interior Secretary Doug Burgum has pledged to keep parks open and accessible and make sure that parks are adequately staffed. But the demonstrators behind the Musk bust don't believe that to be the case. Saying poor construction of a park bathroom left her with long-lasting injuries, an Afton woman unsuccessfully sued her town government for nearly $3 million in a 3-day jury trial last week. The jury in Lincoln County District Court returned a July 30th verdict saying the town of Afton was not negligent. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Danelle Lynn's lawsuit dates back to the night of September 10th, 2023, when Lynn attended a wedding at the Canyon View Park in Afton.
The bathroom door sits on a threshold that's like 3.5 inches above the landing leading to it. So the allegation was, whoa, this wasn't built to the code that prevailed in the early 80s when it was built. And the town also didn't have outdoor lighting. Reportedly, the jury decided otherwise after hearing not only evidence that the woman was wearing a high-heeled wedge shoe, but also that the inside of the bathroom was lit.
Lynn suffered what she described as a severe leg injury. Her bones snapped in 3 places, and she had to undergo an emergency room procedure. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Looking for something truly unforgettable? Head to the Cody Night Rodeo, where real cowboy action comes alive every night beginning at 8. From bucking broncs to bull rides, it's America's original night rodeo right here in Cody, Wyoming.
The rodeo capital of the world.
It's family fun, wild rides, and true Western excitement under the lights. Cody is rodeo.
The American Eagle Denim Company has sparked fierce debate with its ads featuring popular actress Sydney Sweeney and the tagline, quote, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes." But DuBois area outdoorsman and hunting guide Cade Cole decided to have some fun with it, according to outdoors reporter Mark Hines.
There's been this controversy blowing up all over the place about the jeans commercial. Is it too racy, too sexual? Does it imply genetic superiority of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people? A Wyoming outdoorsman decided to just have some fun with it, and he got this photo of himself with a jean jacket and some ripped-up old jeans, holding his dog in one arm and a Magnum revolver in the other, with the caption on social media, "Hey, I have good genes too."
In the American Eagle ads, Sweeney poses in the company's denim clothing. In a sultry voice, she talks about how genes pass certain characteristics, such as eye color and personality, down from parents to children. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by clicking on the daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Those 9 months were also 273 days of planning. What about your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. And let's not forget those barbecues you plan in detail for your family and your more vegetarian by the day best friends. That surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake coming up. Ask Abby segment, trivia about the month of August and trivia about comparisons of the UK and the US. Words that we use and they use across the pond that mean the same thing, but you wouldn't hardly know it. Sometimes it's difficult to communicate with somebody from the UK. They got different way of talking. And they use different words sometimes for things. So, yeah, we'll explore all that in the Ask Abby, see how she does. Meanwhile, it's time to ask Renee. Let's get Renee Jean into the Zoom room. You were in the tiny town of Hulet, and they had a whole bunch of motorcycles there.
Yes, they did.
Well, free food will do that. Is it really free? A historic ham and jam, and it attracted tens of thousands of Sturgis motorcycle rally bikers. But it was just like your average, small, intimate backyard barbecue. What a time that must have been. Did you have fun?
Oh, yeah. It's always nice going up there, and it's kind of like a festival atmosphere for the day. It's gotten to the point now, I've done 3 of these. It's gotten to the point where I'm starting to recognize people who have been coming to the rally, every year, and they're starting to recognize me, even though we don't know each other's names. And, I watched all day as strangers would sit next to each other and just start chatting. That's the kind of atmosphere it is. It's okay to sit next to a stranger and eat your free pork sandwich. It is free, but they encourage donations. It does cost this bar quite a bit to put together enough pork and baked beans and chips to feed like 20,000 people rolling through, right? And not everybody gets a sandwich. Some people buy meals at some of the other establishments. So, it's not everybody's there for the free pork sandwich. In fact, some of the people I talked to traveled through there didn't even realize there was a free pork sandwich. They don't really advertise that aspect of it anymore. Just word of mouth.
Yeah, and for many bikers, it's just the getting there, not the destination. That drive is fantastic. This is just one of many, I would assume, side attractions to Sturgis. These, pit stops on the way there or the way back in the Black Hills area. This is just one of the more popular ones. And in some ways, people look as forward to these things as they do the whole Sturgis thing.
Yeah, well, and it's not a pit stop exactly. Wyoming Wednesday was set up as, kind of, I think, like they were telling me in Newcastle, Sturgis has asked for help to spread this out a little more, take some of the pressure off of that. And so, the Wyoming Wednesday was kind of set up as a way by Wyoming businesses to kind of draw some of that Sturgis traffic over into Wyoming. I think it was kind of a cooperative effort when it was first set up. These businesses were just looking at ways of, how can we get some of this business for ourselves? It'll help our businesses. It'll help our local economies. But as the years have gone by, Sturgis has asked the region for help in spreading things around a little bit. And Sturgis Rally actually puts Wyoming Wednesday on the map and shows them, here's this nice, cool little loop ride you can do around the Devil's Tower and these little towns that do these events that you can stop in at, the Burnout and Sundance, the Ham and Jam and Hulet. Aladdin usually does something. I think yesterday they had a swimming pool set up in Aladdin. So, these towns and the Sturgis event are kind of working together to keep that going and promote it.
Let's profile the average biker. I think we've learned that, the Sturgis Rally and things like Wyoming Wednesdays are not what they used to be. It's not your grandfather's, motorcycle club when things were maybe a little more wild. In fact, it used to be called Panty-Free Wednesdays. Whoa. It's changing demographics. It's aging bikers, what we're seeing, huh?
It's much more mellow than what it used to be. Some folks, kind of mourn the loss of that, I suppose. But other people are glad that it's kind of tamed down a little bit. I think the people who lived in Hulet weren't real comfortable with having, naked women walking around on their streets and that kind of thing. And so it has tamed down quite a bit. I would describe it as kind of a mellow backyard barbecue kind of thing. Everybody's pretty nice. There's, nobody's crabby. Everybody's having a good day, basically.
What are people doing, putting their names on the ceiling or something I see in the photos?
Yeah, I think that's sort of a tradition there. I saw lots of picnic tables with people's names on it. I think people were writing their name and the date that they were there at the Sturgis Rally. Just, kind of like people did that on the Independence Rock too. They wrote their name and the date that they came through. They kind of do that at the Sturgis Rally.
Yeah.
Wyoming side of the Sturgis Rally.
I was there at the rally. 2025 will be on the picnic table. I was there at the rally 1977 will be on the wall of the local jail, probably. That's how the whole thing has changed over the years. Let's turn our attention to sneezing and coughing and the eye tearing. I have had every summer, it seems, I'm like, this is the worst hay fever season, the worst allergy season. Everybody seems to agree. I complain that I'm wiping my eyes and other people say, I know, it's horrible. Are we all suffering from allergy? I guess so. I had no idea Wyoming was such a pollen high place. No wonder.
Yeah. I have allergies for a long time now, and I take Claritin every day, was a prescription, because that kind of helps build up your, helps keep it tamped down, so I just take it every day. I forget though, but yeah, so like the last couple of days I've been under the weather from pollen, and I'm guessing it's the sagebrush, Jake. You guys, that's a dominant feature in the landscape in Wyoming. It's a great plant. It grows in arid climate. It provides a lot of habitat for wildlife and food for wildlife, deer, rabbit, elk, all of that. But it's a wind pollinated plant. So, what goes with that? Producing extra pollen, because, you don't know if you're going to get enough where you need it to pollinate that next generation. And so plants have adapted by producing a lot of it. And it's lightweight so that it can travel easily and readily when the wind picks up. Well, Wyoming has a lot of wind, and it has a lot of this lightweight pollen just blowing around. And then I think a third component that's significant is the smoke from burning wildfires. What's burning there? It's the sagebrush. Sagebrush puts all that, when it's burning, it's putting volatile compounds into the air, things that people can be further allergic to. They tell you don't burn poison ivy, because when you do, you can get really bad allergic reactions. It's volatilizing all of those compounds, and you're breathing it into your lungs. It's a very direct kind of exposure. So if you are allergic to sagebrush when there are wildfires, outside might not be where you want to be. Close the windows, turn the air conditioner on, make sure it's recirculating indoor air so that you can kind of tamp down that exposure to those allergens if you're super allergic to it.
I think I'm sniffling more just talking about it. Sagebrush seems to be a common denominator in a lot of our allergies. It is certainly a pollen producer. It's the perfect storm pollinator, as you mentioned, because of several reasons. There's no shortage of sage, the way it operates, the way it procreates with that really light particle, and it produces more than it needs to, knowing there's going to be a certain amount of waste. It all makes sense as to why bee-inspired honey products manufacturer tallied up pollen scores, had Wyoming ranking way high, 6th. I would have never guessed we were such a pollen place.
Actually, 6 of the top 10 states are Mountain West states where sagebrush is common.
Okay.
So, it's not just Wyoming where sagebrush is probably contributing to some allergy problems. But it is very dominant in Wyoming. I looked it up, and a couple of the articles I read suggested that Wyoming has the most the most concentration of sagebrush.
Yeah, when it comes to hay fever and seasonal allergies, sometimes if you move to another place, cross the country or whatever, I've found that it might be relief for a season, but your allergies tend to catch up with you sooner or later. You found one family that it was worse where they went.
I don't, and I'm kind of speculating a little bit, but I do have the degree in chemistry and almost a second degree in life sciences. So it's educated guesswork. I think if you're someone who's prone to develop allergies, that probably if you move, you just expose yourself to a whole new slate of things to react to, right? And, anymore, they used to recommend if you're allergic to pets, for example, get rid of the pets. But anymore, that's not what they recommend. Instead, they want you to manage the allergy symptoms that you have, and, kind of tamp that reaction down. And if you're faithful about it, you can kind of train your body to stop overreacting to those allergens in your environment. So I think instead of exposing yourself to a whole new slate of allergens by moving, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I have tried. I mean, my allergies are on next level. They are industrial strength. They're really, I've never found anything that brought me relief. You mentioned the Claritin D. I do the extra strength, Claritin D. And for me, it's just a Band-Aid on the symptoms. Have you ever heard that that honey, a localized source of honey prior to when you usually experience that allergies, could help ease the hay fever season for you if you eat a lot of honey from local bees?
I see that all the time. I would caution people on that. If you are someone who's hyper allergic, like you go into anaphylactic shock. Ingesting an allergen in an uncontrolled manner is probably not the way to go. I would run it by your allergist. They have shots that they can put you on a schedule to help control that exposure and make sure you're not getting too much. And you're in an environment where if you need intervention, it's right there, as opposed to doing something in your kitchen, you're by yourself. If you go into shock, who's going to help you? So I don't think I recommend that, Jake. And I haven't ever asked a doctor about that. I'm just thinking about it. I think that sounds good online. And maybe if you're not someone who's super, super allergic, maybe that works. I don't know. Or maybe it makes you even more sensitive. I think you'd have to talk to an allergist, someone who's actually got some training and knowledge about that to learn if that really works.
I just had to sneeze while you were talking. My allergies aren't quite done yet. It's usually like 3 or 4 weeks.
Like with Claritin D, the key there, Jake, is you can't just take it and get an immediate relief. It's going to take at least 24 hours for that to really start kicking in. So you need to take it on like a regular basis. It's one of those medications that has very few side effects. I've taken it for decades. It has not affected my health in any way.
Yeah.
Side effects are very low. On the scale of things you could do for allergies, it's one of the least side effecty medications you can do.
Yeah.
But it's not the case where you take it and it's going to immediately tamp things down. It's not the way it works. It works better if it's taken on a regular basis.
I see. Well, Renee Jean's story really just proves you're not alone. I think all of us get a little touch of it. Pass the Kleenex, and it's allergy season for sure. Thanks, Renee.
All right.
Good stuff. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Renee Jean, Cowboy State Daily. Several stories you got to catch up with her on. Quick break, and we'll come right back with the Ask Abby segment, our favorite part of the week, right after these.
To the Teton Range, Cheyenne to Sheridan, Rawlins to Ralston, Cowboy State Daily Morning Show covers the state like no other radio show or podcast. We love Lovell. We're eager to share the stories of Story will crow about Crowheart and yodel over Yoder. Whether you make your home in Sweetwater, Chugwater, Powder River, or Green River, the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show will make you feel right at home. Jeffrey City, Atlantic City, we see you. Little America, Big Piney, you're on our radar. Howdy, Wapiti, Meeteetse, Shoshone, 10 Sleep, good morning. Welcome, Torrington, Riverton, Wheatland, Lusk, Lingle, Lander, Timber, Casey, Kerwin, Moorcroft, Mountain View, Moose, Fort Bridger, Fort Laramie, Fort Washington, Hannah, Hudson, Hulet, Dayton, Daniel, and DuBois. We are east of Weston, west of Midwest, north of Newcastle, and south of Sundance. Border to border, we love Wyoming and every one of its communities, bar none.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Nestled between Casper Mountain and the North Platte River, you'll find the heart of Wyoming. With a bustling downtown centered around our outdoor haven, Casper is for adventurers, freedom seekers, and rule breakers who find beauty off the beaten path. So if touchable history, a vibrant community, and uninterrupted outdoor recreation define your travel itinerary, allow us to welcome you to the one and only Casper, Wyoming. Plan your trip at visitcasper.com.
Oh, right. Look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking, but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable. Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Let's get to it. Thursday, Ask Abby on the Cowboy State Daily Show. Abby, let me ask you something. How much American Eagle product are you rocking in the closet?
0, I think.
What?
I haven't worn American Eagle since I was in high school, probably.
Really? It's for kids, right? Is it?
I think so. I don't know. I don't think it's for 40-year-olds.
No, I mean preteen, teen. You're saying you've outgrown American Eagle?
Son, yeah.
Come on. All right. Sydney Sweeney.
How much American Eagle are you wearing?
I do have American Eagle.
Stop it.
Yeah, I swear. I'm not wearing any rat, but I got some. Honest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I like American Eagle.
I'll wear them when they want to sponsor the Ask Abby segment of Jake's Radio.
That should be their next marketing ploy. I mean, I get Sydney Sweeney's like the hottest thing on the planet right now, but when they move on and looking for their next campaign, yes, Ask Abby segment. I would suggest that too.
Yeah.
Let me get to it. I'm going to get our buzzer ready. And of course, our happy wand, magic wand.
Yeah.
Just a couple of questions about August, since we just started August like a week ago. And then we're going to do, if you were listening earlier, you could have done some prep, some homework. You could have crammed. I gave you the heads up that we were going to talk about words they use in England that we don't use here, words that are different. Like they have a different way of talking over the pond.
Yeah, I think that I might do okay. Maybe
good.
I can phone some friends.
Okay.
Maybe my friend Jordell's listening. She'll send me some answers.
Is she a Brit?
No, but she's just well versed in that kind of stuff. She's smart.
She's very international jet setter. Okay.
She's so international.
It's we're in August now, and it has how many days?
31.
Excellent. We're starting easy. August was not always the 8th day of the month, 8th month of the year. Sorry. It was once the 6th because these 2 months had to be added.
June and July?
No. Late additions to the calendar were January and February for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah. Why do we call it August? What's it named after, by the way? Was it always August?
St. Augustine?
No.
Aw.
Not him.
Augustus the Great?
Yeah. Augustus Caesar. Some Roman who kind of ruled the whole deal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tomorrow, you'll never believe it. Tomorrow is, guess what? International what day? And I'll give you I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
You're not a big fan
of cats. International Cat Day.
It is tomorrow, International Cat Day. Women's Equality Day is also this month. Which day?
The 12th. Shoot.
We should know this being in Wyoming, right? Women's Equality Day this month, not the 12th.
18th. I don't know.
24th.
Oh, okay. I'll lock that in.
Not to be outdone with the Cat Day, this month also known as Dog Days of Summer, also has the National Dog Day in it for the United States. Which day is National Dog Day?
Which month or which day?
Which day of August?
Oh, International Dog Day and Cat Day are in the same month.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Cats and dogs fighting. We've separated them by a couple of weeks. What day would? Yeah, they're separated by a few weeks. Cat Day is tomorrow. Dog Day.
Okay. Is the 28th.
Ooh, close.
I'm so good at guessing today.
26th.
Oh.
Why is August the Dog Days of Summer?
Because it's the hot days, the end of summer.
That one.
Oh. Real quick on that buzzer.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you're wrong.
Okay, thank you.
That's what everybody thinks, because it's just like really hot that, your dog is just laying on the porch and you can't get up. It's so hot in August. It has to do with the dog star and its feature in the sky. The dog star is predominant in August or something.
Oh, wow.
Something like
That's
that.
way off.
Yeah. Okay, let's go UK, US. Words that don't mean the same thing, or words that mean the same thing, but we use different words. You know what I mean? What do they call, in England, what do they call the trunk? Like your car. Like, put that in the trunk.
Carriage. The buggy? Ah, what?
No.
I don't know. What's it start with?
Well, I mean, think of what you would call the back end or the caboose of a person. Like you would say, Sydney Sweeney's got a great trunk.
Rear?
You're getting there. Starts with a B.
The bumper?
Oh my goodness.
You got a nice bumper.
I'm digging the bumper on that person. No.
Backside. That would not be right. I said buggy. I thought that sounded right. I don't know. Tell me, what's the answer?
Late at night, you might want to make one of these calls.
What?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
Boot. It's the boot. Your spare tire is likely to be in the boot.
You're gonna make a boot call?
Booty.
What is that?
Booty call.
Oh, get your head out of the gutter.
Yeah. We call them fries, as in French fries, but in England they call them.
Oh, I don't know.
You know this. Come on, fish
Chips?
and yes.
Chips. Yeah.
Fish and chips. Excellent.
Or crisps. Do they call them crisps?
Crisps, they would call potato chips crisps.
Yeah, crisps are chips.
Yes.
Chips are fries.
We got it. Oh, we're on it now. Let's go.
I'm dialed in.
Yes. Let's make it 2 in a row. If a lorry drives by on the street, what is it in the U.S.? In England,
If lorry?
a lorry. Yeah, they say, oh, a lorry just drove by and it made a lot of noise. Or the exhaust on that lorry, or what are they referring to?
A truck? A car?
A truck.
Yeah.
Okay. A lorry is a truck. If
a
you
bus?
If you had to ask for the restroom in England, you would ask for where is the
loo?
Oh, look at you. You're going now. They don't call
Fired up.
They don't call it an apartment. If you're an apartment hunting in downtown London, you're looking for
You are looking for a Not an apartment. I know this.
Yes.
It's starts with a
F.
What are you texting? Are you texting answers down there?
No, I know the answers.
A flat.
Yes. All right. Here we go. A biscuit does not mean the same thing to Londoners. If you're in England and you ask for a biscuit, like we would know it as a breakfast item, right? Like a
Yeah, it's a cookie.
Yeah, it's a cookie in over there. If you're all heading to the sporting event known as football, what is football in England that we would call what?
Soccer.
Yeah. And people participating in sports or exercise, you want to make sure you put on your trainers.
Your shoes.
More specific, but yeah.
Cleats?
Well, your sneakers, your, yeah. We call it going on vacation. In England, they would say
holiday.
Yeah, there you are. Okay, here's a tough one. I didn't know this one. And I'll try to give you a hint. If a new mom asks her husband, run out to the car and get me a nappy.
Oh, a bottle.
No,
a diaper. A diaper.
Yes, a diaper. I didn't know that. What do they call an elevator primarily over there in England?
A lift?
Yes. What do they call bangs in England? Like you say, oh, that girl's rocking bangs.
Frames? I don't know. Fringe?
Yes.
Oh!
Are you cheating?
No.
Fringe is weird. Have you ever had fringe?
Probably against my will.
Really? You don't?
Yeah. My mom really gave me some stellar haircuts back in the day. So yeah.
I mean, the bangs are bangs back? I don't know. Not really.
I think bangs are always dependent on the size of your forehead.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, but there's variety of bangs. There's a spectrum. There's you can have. There's a lot of different kinds of bangs.
Sure. Let's go back to that whole.
You have bangs. You could have bangs, Jake.
Yeah, maybe. Let's go back to football. Football. In American football, the way we play football, there's a position called the punter. You call for him on 4th and long. But in England, if they're referring to a punter, what are they talking about? He's not a kicker.
Oh, gosh. Well, I have no idea.
No.
No. A punter at soccer or in football?
In neither, really. In England.
Oh, just in life.
Yeah, punter in England is what?
Gosh, I don't think I've ever heard that. I don't know.
A punter would be usually a customer at a bar. It refers to a customer usually at a bar, sometimes derogatorily as a prostitute, but not necessarily. It's basically somebody on the other side of the bar that you would be serving. They're all punters.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that weird? On the subject of liquor, what do they call a liquor store in England? This is a tough one.
Gosh. You're playing the music on me.
Well, there's so much dead air on the Ask Abby segment for people on radio who don't see you scrunching your forehead like.
Sorry, I'll be quicker.
No,
I don't know.
I like when you struggle, no matter how long it takes. A liquor store is referred to as an off license. Run down to the off license. Get me a bottle of vodka. Yeah.
I wouldn't guess that in 100 guesses.
I know. Shopping cart. What's a shopping cart in England?
A buggy.
Well, okay. A buggy, more often a trolley, but you're on the right idea.
Oh, okay.
In England, braces have nothing to do with what you would put on your teeth to correct them. Braces are what?
For your legs? Like
No. No, Tiny
like
Tim.
Forrest Gump.
No.
Braces? I don't know.
Suspenders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On the subject
Okay.
of clothes, the Brits are just all messed up on clothing. When they say vest, they really mean
Coat?
no.
If they say vest, they really mean bra? I don't know.
No. They're referring to your undershirt.
Oh.
When they say vest. When they want to say vest, what is their way of saying vest in England? What word would they use to refer to
Undercoat.
what we would say is a vest? No.
No.
Close though. A waistcoat or waistcoat is a vest.
Waistcoat.
A
Okay.
waistcoat.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Okay. And then what would a Brit refer to as your pants?
Trousers.
Yes, trousers. When they say pants, what are they talking about? So in England,
pantaloons.
yeah,
Pantaloons.
yeah, well, underpants.
Yeah.
If an Englander says pants, they mean underpants. If they say trousers, they mean pants.
Overpants.
Overpants. Good point. Yeah, they're overpants. Okay, finally, let's end on two common England phrases. If you're told to bugger off, what does that mean?
Go away.
Hit the road, go away. Here's two more, actually. We'll do three. When somebody in England says they're knackered.
They're tired.
Yes. I was almost going to say drunk, but yeah, they're exhausted.
That's a schmuckert or something.
Mm.
I'm channeling Adele right now. I'm channeling all the things Adele says.
Oh, okay.
That's where I've gotten my answers, just listening to Adele talk in interviews.
Going to an Adele interview. However you get it done. I hope Adele has at one time used the phrase, Bob's your uncle. Common English phrase, apparently. Bob's your uncle. What does that mean?
Like well, duh.
Yeah, we'll give that to you. Bob's your, it means there you go.
No shit.
Yeah, there you go. No, duh. Yeah, you're right. Wow, you did very well.
A+ Abby. That's where we're renaming the segment to A+ Abby, sponsored by American Eagle.
I'll decide that. But if it if it works for American Eagle to rename the segment, yes, we will. Because it's all about the money, right?
Yeah.
You got to get
It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins, Jake.
You know it.
Oh, you know what? Do we have time for one thing?
Oh, well, of course.
Okay. I was going to ask you a trivia question.
Ooh.
That I read about online the other day. Why do they call it hungover?
Oh, hung over. Because you're hung over the toilet.
No. Because back in, olden days,
yeah,
people would homeless people would set up a line in shelters and people would hang over the line to sleep. And usually they were people who were drunk and passed out.
Oh, wow. You were, physically hanging over and sleeping that way, like sleeping it off over a line.
Hung over the line. Yeah.
Get out.
I read that. I don't know. Fact check me.
Yeah,
Fact check me
I
back.
might have to Snopes you, but okay. For lack of a better explanation, it sounds right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give that to you.
I don't know.
What are you doing this weekend?
You never know. Who knows? Living my life real minute to minute, Jake.
Woo! Bob's your uncle. All right.
Your uncle. Okay.
Thanks, Abby.
Bye.
Ask Abby segment. No American Eagle products were worn in the making of Ask Abby today, which is too bad. Maybe next time. Abby says she's outgrown American Eagle. All right. Let's take one final break and we'll race for the finish line on a Thursday edition of the Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake.
Wyoming is the cowboy state. From corner to corner, there are so many stories to be told, and more cowboys and cowgirls are turning to the Cowboy State Daily News team to keep them in touch with what's happening both locally and in other parts of Wyoming. I'm Riley Strand, videographer and production assistant for Cowboy State Daily Video News. We're proud to bring the most important stories to our viewers every day. The stories that start conversations, the stories that make us laugh, the stories that make us think. Our experienced journalists at Cowboy State Daily are crisscrossing the state every day, talking to those who know the news best. Every day, host Wendy Core and I talk to the reporters who are covering the topics, issues, and people that are important to Wyomingites. And in our daily newscast, we bring you those stories. Tune into the Cowboy State Daily video newscast every morning, only on cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Wyoming is a place of unlimited potential, a place that inspires us to dream. Since 2014, Wyo Lotto has given back over $180 million to our great state through transfers, winnings, commissions, and more. Dollars that have gone directly into your cities, towns, and counties. Dollars that have changed lives and set dreams in motion. Thank you, Wyoming, for a legendary 10 years. We can't wait to dream up what's next.
Might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. You may not even know you have it, but you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand. With early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
So I wanted to talk with you and your mom today, Lily, because of some of the changes your friends and teachers have seen in you lately. And along with the incident the other day, you were with Derek when he was caught selling marijuana.
Yeah, he was selling it.
Honey, we know. But we care about you and want to know what's going on.
That's right. We'd like to understand it better and see how we might help. And if weed is a part of it, we want to make sure you know about the negative consequences for someone your age. So, can we talk?
Talk. They hear you.
Cowboy State Daily Show, and our final story of the Cowboy State Daily that we haven't got to yet is this woman in Wapiti that kind of went on, just went off the rails a little bit, I'll say. Wapiti Park County sheriffs responded to a woman that was cursing and shooting. When the cops got there, she allegedly shot in their direction as well. She's lucky she wasn't killed or wasn't shot at by police. Great restraint by law enforcement. Deputies responding to a 911 call in Wapiti last week encountered 61-year-old Wapiti woman who was having a bad day. Mary Lindemann fired a gun. According to dispatch, the person that called 911 said Mary Lindemann is out of her mind. She's shooting a gun. She fired so close to me, I saw the rounds hit the dirt right in front of me, like, boom. And then she barricaded herself in her home when cops got there, and she allegedly took a few shots at them. One shot going right over the top of the police. She went into her home, turned off the lights, started blasting music and blasting her firearm. Using a combination of night vision and thermal optics, deputies were able to see Lindemann exit the residence onto her deck, where she discharged another round north of the house, perpendicular to the patrol vehicles. Deputies yelled out that they were from the sheriff's office. They said, "Put down the gun." She pointed the gun in their direction after hearing this and fired off another round. Oh, man. In addition to that, you've got a neighbor who comes by in the middle of all this. Mark Schultz, 59-year-old, says, "I would like to talk to Mary Lindemann." And the cop said, get down, man. Among other things, the first thing he said is, "Get your head down." He said, "Let me go talk to her. I have a feeling this is why Mary Lindemann has come unhinged. It has something to do with Mark Schultz, the 59-year-old neighbor." He's like, "Let me talk to her." And they said, absolutely not. In fact, they charged him with obstruction by the time it was over. The tactical team was able to approach the deck, take Mary Lindemann into custody at about 11:20 at night. Alcohol suspected is playing a factor in the events. I would assume so, says the statement. The investigation not yet complete. Lindemann is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, punishable by up to 10 years and 10,000 fines. Schultz was arrested for interference with a peace officer, a misdemeanor. And just a wild night in Wapiti, I guess. Wyoming Game and Fish advising people stop releasing your pet goldfish into fill in the blank public water. I mean, people do this all the time. I guess when your domestic pet fish no longer suits you, usually the toilet has been the go-to option. But if you don't have the heart to flush the fish, some people have been releasing their pet fish, mostly goldfish, but other fish, into a nearby pond or whatever. In Jackson, it's the May Park, the pond at May Park, and the Jackson officials, game and fish, fisheries biologist says, don't do that. Goldfish are pretty hardy. They'll survive, and then they'll start messing up the whole ecosystem. Be smart. Don't release your pet fish out in the wild. This message from Wyoming Game and Fish in the Jackson region. Let's hear from our friends at Wyoming Game and Fish. Ray Hageman's report is next.
A viral disease killing doves in Rock Springs, and helicopter fish stocking in the Dubois-Lander areas. That's next on the Wyoming Outdoorsman. I'm Ray Hageman. Last month, the Wyoming Game and Fish Green River Regional Office received reports of large numbers of Eurasian collared doves dying in a Rock Springs neighborhood. Game and Fish personnel sampled 2 diseased birds. The samples sent to the Wyoming State Veterinary Laboratory to identify possible causes of death. Both doves tested positive for avian paramyxovirus. Tests for avian influenza and a more virulent strain of paramyxovirus known as Newcastle's disease were negative. Avian paramyxovirus is a viral disease that can spread rapidly in areas where birds congregate, causing large die-offs in pigeon and dove populations. Birds infected with the disease may exhibit neurological symptoms, diarrhea, weakness, respiratory distress, or die acutely. Liz Wheeler, wildlife disease biologist at the Game and Fish's Wildlife Health Lab, says effective disease management strategies involve disinfecting bird feeders and bird baths with a 10% bleach solution when visibly affected birds are present, and completely removing feeders and baths for at least a month to disperse the infected individuals. These precautions are essential for reducing the risk of transmission. The Game and Fish, in cooperation with the U.S. Forest Service, will soon be fish stocking in front country and back country lakes outside Dubois and Lander with a helicopter. The initiative will include lakes in the Shoshone National Forest. Over the summer, 16 lakes will be stocked with more than 40,000 fingerling-sized fish, 1.5 to 3 inches long. Now, the fish won't grow to a catchable size for at least 2 years. The species to be stocked include kokanee salmon, splake, golden trout, rainbow trout, and Yellowstone cutthroat. A small percentage of high-elevation lakes throughout the state are stocked on a rotational basis every 2 to 4 years. However, most remote waters support naturally reproducing fish populations and don't require stocking. Many waters this year are accessible by vehicle and will be stocked by Game and Fish hatchery staff with stocking trucks. 3 backcountry lakes near Togedy were stocked by helicopter at the end of July. Joe Daramidi, Lander Region Fish Supervisor, says it's a very efficient way for us to stock multiple remote lakes at one time and in one flight. He says our goal is to provide high-quality fish that will thrive and offer excellent fishing opportunities for everyone. This has been Wyoming Outdoorsman. Thanks for listening. I'm Ray Hageman.
We're back. Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake continues.
I want to quickly share the most stolen vehicles, the 20 most stolen vehicle list, and the 20 least stolen vehicles, according to the latest data. We don't have to worry about car theft too much here in Wyoming, but, you know, every once in a while, maybe in your big city. I also wanted to share this news. I teased early in the morning and never did follow up. Superman has joined ICE. I'm not kidding. Dean Cain, the actor known as playing Superman back in, well, not the original, but back in maybe the best known version of Superman, Dean Cain. Dean Cain announced the other day, he said, many of you may know I'm from a law enforcement background. I didn't know that. Dean Cain is an actual cop. Besides being an actor, Dean Cain said he joined the cause. He volunteered to assist immigration, customs, and enforcement officials on any job that they may need him for. Superman Dean Cain has joined ICE. No kidding. The most likely vehicles to be stolen, I hope you're not driving a Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Retails for about $75,000. If you do drive a Chevy Camaro ZL1, you better take a look on the driveway and make sure it's still there. It had a theft rate of 39 times higher than the average for all vehicles from 2022 to 24. Chevy Camaro also high on the list as being stole a lot. Least likely to be stolen, pretty much any Tesla. Kid you not. Tesla Model Y, the Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model 3. A lot of Teslas. Not high on the list for vehicles likely to be stolen. Go figure. That'll do it for us today on a Thursday edition of the Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time. Everybody have a great Thursday.
Good morning. This is the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. The new way Wyoming wakes up.